Hi, everyone, and welcome to our watch-along live stream of this first ODI between Australia and Zimbabwe from Townsville. The news is that Australia have won the toss. They've chosen to bowl first. And Mitchell Starc with the ball in hand. He runs up, he bowls. Bit of a wide delivery to Kaya. And that's safely taken by Carey behind the stumps. So welcome to everyone for our live stream, a watch along of this first ODI between Australia and Zimbabwe from Townsville. An exciting day of cricket. The start of the Australian International Summer. It's cricket in August. Who would have thought? It's an early start to the Australian summer, but it's going to be a great summer of cricket nonetheless. I hope everyone will enjoy today's live stream, and we're going to have some fun talking about cricket and seeing how both of these teams will go throughout this series. Starc, he bowls to Kaya. Kaya works that behind square down to Hazelwood. That fine leg. And Zimbabwe are off the mark. So none for one for Zimbabwe at the moment. Let's have a look at the teams briefly. Australia announced their team a bit earlier. A day before the match started today. So Finch, Warner, Smith, Carey, Stoinis, Mitchell Marsh, Maxwell, Green, Starc, Zampa and Hazelwood. No surprises there for the Australian team. Zimbabwe have announced their team as well. Kaya, Maramandi, Madhevere, Marionga, Raza, Chaveka, Buell, Longwe, Evans, Narava, and Nietzsche. And that's the Zimbabwean team. Starc, he runs up. He bowls to Maramundi, and he flicks this behind square on the leg side to Adam Zampa down a fine leg, and he gets off the mark. He begins his innings with a single. So that's the Zimbabwean team. So it's going to be an interesting ODI series, that's for sure. Australia and Zimbabwe from Townsville. And it's going to be an exciting series, an exciting summer ahead, that's for sure. So none for two for Zimbabwe as they begin their innings. You'll probably think around about 250 minimum is probably the score that they'll be looking for today. They'll definitely need to score some runs if they are going to challenge Australia with the bat in this first ODI today. Single bear for Kaya. Zimbabwe are none for three as they begin their innings. So they're important for the openers in Kaya and Maramundi. They've got to get a good partnership here. They've got to get Zimbabwe off to a good start. Starc, he bowls to Maramundi, and Maramundi flicks him behind square down to fine leg for another single. Zimbabwe move on to none for four. One ball remaining in Mitchell Starc's first over of this first ODI between Australia and Zimbabwe from Townsville. Good to see the crowd in. A lot of people are watching the game in Townsville. That's fantastic to see. Hopefully we'll have a good crowd over the next couple of games of this series. So one ball remaining for Starc in his first over. He runs up. He bowls to Kaya. And a leading edge and nearly carried to David Warner at mid-off. So a good over there from Mitchell Starc. It's the end of the over. It's none for four for Zimbabwe. One over down in this first ODI of the series. Mitchell Starc a bit wayward in that first over. Didn't quite get the radar right. But he only conceded the 4 runs. He'll be hoping to rectify that as we progress throughout this innings. Certainly Mitchell Starc hasn't played one-day cricket for a while. Obviously didn't play in Sri Lanka. He had that injury to his finger. So he's a bit rusty. So it's going to be Josh Hazlewood. No surprise there. Josh Hazlewood to take up the attack from the other end. He'll be bowling to Maramundi for the start of the second over. And Australia looking to get an early wicket here. That's very important. Get early wickets, try and break the partnership, try and put Zimbabwe under pressure if they can. And that'll be the key. We've got Josh Hazlewood now running up to bowl to Maramundi. He runs up, he bowls, and an outside edge from Maramundi down to third man for a single. Moves on to 3. So Zimbabwe, they'll be definitely challenged throughout this whole ODI series in terms of with the bat, with the ball, and in the field as well. But for them, it's about embracing the challenge. It's about embracing this challenge. We're playing in Australia. We're playing against a good opposition in Australia. We're going to be tested. But for them, it's all about rising to that challenge and being able to do well. Hazlewood runs up, he bowls to Kaya, and this one hits Kaya on the pads. Got a bit cramped for room there. And there is no run. So none for 5 for Zimbabwe in the second over of this first ODI. And a reminder to everyone that we are live streaming this ODI series between Australia and Zimbabwe. We'll be live streaming the second and third game after today. And we'll be also live streaming the New Zealand series as well, which is to follow. Hazlewood bowls and Kaya defends this, and there is no run. So good start here from Josh Hazlewood. Just the one single from his over thus far, 2 dot balls. Good line and length as always. Josh Hazlewood, he's really improved as a bowler in the limited overs formats. We all know what he can do in Test cricket, but he's a very good ODI and T20 bowler now. So Australia looking to get early wickets. They won the toss today, chose to bowl first. Be looking to get some early wickets, put this Zimbabwean batting order under pressure if they can. But good to see Zimbabwe back out in Australia. It's been too long. 2003-04 was the last time Zimbabwe came to Australia. And that was to play in that tri-series between Australia, India, and Australia won that tri-series, in fact, back in 2003-04. And Zimbabwe did not win a game at all in that tri-series. They lost all the games. They had one no result in that tri-series. Hazlewood runs up bowls, and Kaya defends this to the offside, and there is no run. So very important, as I mentioned earlier, very important for the Zimbabwean batsmen to get in, get set, establish a partnership if they can, and that will be the key for them. Symonds Raza will be the important batsman for them in this match, and they will need to get some runs to support him. He can't do it all himself, but he's in terrific touch, Symonds Raza. Hazlewood runs up bowls, and this hits Kaya right in front in the pads. I think he got a bit of an edge on that. Lucky to get away with that one. That would have been out LBW if he missed that. Trying to just having a look here. Yep. Having a look on the replay here. Yes. Did hit him on the pads, but probably missing the stumps in the end. Hazlewood bowls, and Kaya hits this to Mitchell Marsh on the offside. And there is no run, and that is the end of the over. It's none for 5. After 2 overs. And a good start from Australia, a watchful start from Zimbabwe as they try and get to a total they feel that is going to be challenging for Australia here in Townsville today. Kaya on 2, Maramundi on 3. It's going to be Mitchell Starc to continue. Didn't quite get the radar right in the first over, but he'd be hoping to get the radar right in the second over of his spell here, Mitchell Starc. As he bowls to Maramundi. So here we go, Mitchell Starc. Runs up. He bowls. And a plain miss from Maramundi. And straight to the keeper in Alex Carey. So people who are going to join us throughout this live stream watch along today, if you're in the chat, what sort of a total do you think Zimbabwe need to get today to challenge Australia? Around about 250, probably minimum, they'll probably need to get if they are going to challenge Australia. I feel like anything below that, Australia will have no problems in chasing. So Starc runs up bowls to Maramundi and an outside edge, but it's safe. Goes past the slips down to third man for a single. And the score moves on to none for 6 for Zimbabwe. And just an outside edge there. Just very wide of the slips. So in the end, a safe shot there from Maramundi. Gets away with that. Gets the single down to third man. Starc runs up, bowls, and a plain miss from Kaya. The angle across the right-hander, Mitchell Starc bowling. Left arm over the wicket, trying to angle the ball across the right-hander and Kaya. And Kaya went fishing for that one outside the off stump. Nearly got the outside edge there, Mitchell Starc. That's what he'd be hoping to do. Hopefully get one across him and then hopefully bring one back with the angle as well from left arm over the wicket. But a very watchful start from Zimbabwe. That's what they need to do. Trying to get into this match and get into this innings, the opening batsman. Starc bowls and Kaya defends back down the pitch to Starc, and there is no run. 2 balls remaining in the third over of this first ODI between Australia and Zimbabwe from Townsville. Very watchful start indeed from the Zimbabwean batsman. And that's what they need to do. Need to try and establish an opening partnership here if they can. And set the foundation and the platform for Zimbabwe to really get a score they feel like is going to be competitive against Australia today. Starc bowls and Kaya leaves this outside the off stump and there is no run. So that's what they need to do, Zimbabwe. Just be watchful, build the partnership, do the basics right, rotate strike, build the partnership, make sure that they're really switched on. No doubt they're going to be tested up against this Australian bowling attack of Starc and Hazlewood, and then you've got Adam Zampa as well, who's back into the side today. And for Mitchell Starc, he's playing his 100th ODI today, Mitchell Starc. So that's a milestone for him. Mitchell Starc runs up, bowls, and Kaya leaves outside the off stump again for no run. That's the end of the over. It's none for 6 after 3. And we'll just update the score here for everyone. So a very watchful start from both teams. What they need to do here at the moment, Zimbabwe, just need to be watchful, making sure that we get in, get set, build the partnership. Obviously, Sukhinder Raza has been the only one who's been scoring the majority of the runs for Zimbabwe over the last 2 ODI series. Had a good series against Bangladesh, scoring 2 centuries back-to-back, and obviously that century in the last game against India nearly got Zimbabwe over the line, but they only fell short by 13 runs. So all the other batsmen need to support him. Hazlewood's back into the attack. He bowls, and Kaya hits this down the ground. Is it going to get to the boundary? Not quite. Cameron Green will do the fielding. And they come back for 3, I believe. I think it's 3 runs. Yes, it is. 3 runs for Zimbabwe there. Yeah, Kaya didn't really time that. It wasn't really convincing, but he got it down the ground nonetheless. Got 3 runs for that. So he moves on, Maramundi, I should say, on to 7. It'll be Kaya on strike now to Hazelwood. Hazelwood runs up, bowls. And, this one comes back in to Kaya and goes down to third man in the end for a single. Got a bit of bat on that. No, has he? No, a leg by signaled by the umpire there. Yeah, that one just came back in from Hazelwood and just wrapped Kaya on the pads, just jagged back off the seam. But he got a leg by in the end. So it'll be Muramundi back on strike. To Hazelwood, runs up, bowls, and Muramundi leaves this outside the off stump. There is no run. So a very watchful start, as I mentioned earlier, from Zimbabwe. Obviously, the opening partnership, very important to any cricket team. Obviously, you need to have a good opening partnership to set the platform and set the foundation. And that's what they need to do today, Zimbabwe. I feel like 250 minimum should be the target they should be aiming for today, because that's the target that is probably going to make them competitive. Hazelwood runs up, bowls, and Maramundi, a bit of a top edge into the air, but it falls safe. No damage done. He gets a single for that, but didn't quite time that. Not convincing. Hazelwood bangs in this short. Maramundi trying to play the big shot. Didn't quite time it. Gets away with it in the end. Only a single. Yep, toe into the bat there. Onto the offside, and luckily for him that Marcus Stornis didn't come and catch that ball. Just fell in front of Marcus Stornis and couldn't get there at the end. So Zimbabwe, none for 11. Hazelwood runs up, bowls to Kaya. And there is no run. 1 ball remaining in this 4th over for Zimbabwe. Yeah, bit of a bottom edge there onto the pads there. From Kaya. So 1 ball remaining for Hazelwood in his 2nd over, and the 4th over of the innings for Zimbabwe. He runs up, Hazelwood, he bowls. And Kaya works this to the leg side, but there is no run. Mitchell Marsh does the fielding. It's the end of the over. It's none for 11 after 4. As we update the score for everyone. None for 11 after 4 overs for Zimbabwe in this power play. So, a very watchful start for Zimbabwe. None for 11 from 4 overs in the first power play. Only 2 men allowed outside the 30-yard circle in the first power play. So they've got to make the most of this power play, Zimbabwe. With only 2 men outside of the circle, they've got to make the most of it. None for 11 thus far. It's not a bad start. It's a watchful start. There's been things happening. Mitchell Stark to continue to Maramundi. He runs up, he bowls. And Maramundi gets bat on this to the leg side, and there is no run, defends it. Top ball to begin the over from Mitchell Stark. Just starting to get the radar right, Mitchell Stark. And that first over, he got a bit wayward with his line and length. We all know Mitchell Stark can be a bit wayward at times. He's not really that consistent type bowler that you'll expect from a Josh Hazelwood, for example. to hit that line and length. But when he gets it right, Mitchell Starc gets that ball to swing. He's very lethal. So he'll be hoping to get some swing and get a few wickets early for Australia. Runs up, bowls to Maramundi. This one catches high on the bat. And there is no run. So just a reminder that throughout this ODI series, we'll be doing some more watch-alongs, live streams as the series progresses. We'll be live streaming the second and third game. We'll be also live streaming the New Zealand ODI series, which is to follow this series against Zimbabwe in a few days after this series finishes. So we'll be live streaming that as well and watching that as well. Starc bowls to Maramundi, and Maramundi gets a bit of bat and glove on this, but there is no run. So as I was saying, we'll be live streaming that as the summer progresses. Also some other games during the Australian summer as well. Obviously England come out as well, the West Indies for test matches and T20s, South Africa for test matches, and of course the T20 World Cup, which will be later on in the year in October, November. So we'll be live streaming most of the international matches this summer. So it's definitely a busy summer of cricket in Australia. Definitely an early start. Don't expect the Australian summer to start in August, but it is this summer. Mitchell Starc bowls to Maramundi. Ooh, and nearly cleaned up Maramundi's stumps. Luckily, it missed the stumps and no damage done. So Mitchell Starc bowling well in the server. Yep, that one just doing a bit too much. Nearly got the leg stump, but missing the leg stump by some margin. But that's what Mitchell Starc wants to do. Try and bowl full and straight, aim for those stumps, as we know Mitchell Starc can do when he gets it right. But it's good over thus far. 4 dot balls, building the pressure on Maramundi, hoping for a rash shot here. Starc bowls and Maramundi defends on the leg side. And there is no run. So for Zimbabwe, got to make the most of this power play, I feel, if they are going to get that big score that they need to challenge Australia and put them under pressure with the bat. Got to make the most of the power play. Last ball, the 5th over. So we're nearly halfway, well, pretty much halfway through the power play. Mitchell Starc, last ball, the over. He runs up, he bowls, and Maramundi hits this to mid-on. Cameron Green does the fielding. It's the end of the over. It's none for 11 after 5. So a maiden over there from Mitchell Starc. So that's the first maiden of the day. That's good. Building the pressure nicely. That over. Mitchell Starc trying to get a breakthrough if he can for Aaron Finch. Good crowd in Townsville today. Obviously, it's good to see the people of Townsville coming out and watching the game, which you want to see. You want to see that. So it's good that this ODI series against Australia and Zimbabwe, and also the series against New Zealand, which will be played in Cairns. Good to see a lot of people coming out and watching the games, a lot of kids, a lot of families. That's what it's all about, trying to promote and grow the game and develop it. Hazelwood continues to Kaya. He bowls, and this one comes back into Kaya and wraps him on the gloves, and there is no run. So Australia haven't really broken through as yet, trying to search for that first wicket. But as we know in cricket, patience is the game. Got to be patient. Wickets will come. Take your time. And they'll be certainly hoping that the Zimbabwean batsman will make a mistake and get out. So Hazelwood bowls to Kaya, and Kaya on the front foot defends this back down the pitch, and there is no run. Good stride into the ball there from Kaya. Getting that bat nice and straight down the wicket, defending. And he's 2 off 18, Kaya. He's been watchful. Maramundi's 8 off 14. He's been watchful as well. opening partnership, very important for Zimbabwe if they want to get that big score to challenge Australia. So here we go. Hazelwood to Kaya again. Runs up, he bowls, and Kaya gets a bit of... Try to leave this Kaya in the end, but he was a bit indecisive, either to leave or play at it. In the end, he was caught in two minds, and the ball just catch the toe end of the bat straight to the gully, and there is no run. So he's got to be really decisive with his decision making here, Kaya, whether to leave or not. He wasn't there, bit indecisive. So good start for the over from Hazelwood, 3 dot balls. He runs up again, bowls to Kaya, and Kaya flicks him over mid-wicket for 4. And it is, yes, it is the first boundary of the innings. A good shot there from Kaya. Hazelwood just got a bit too straight on the pads, and he was able to flick that over mid-wicket for 4. The first boundary for Zimbabwe. And the score moves on to none for 15 with 2 balls remaining in the 6th over. Got a bit too straight there, Hazelwood, and Kaya. Good shot. Flick over. Square leg in the end, my mistake. Obviously not mid-wicket. Good shot there. Was able to flick that over square leg for 4. Looking to be aggressive here, Kaya. Hazelwood bowls and Kaya defends to mid-off, and there is no run. So, obviously, he's faced 21 balls now, Kaya. He's gotten used to conditions. He's gotten used to Stark and Hazelwood, obviously, getting used to the conditions, and he felt like, well, maybe the time is right to start playing some shots and being aggressive and put the pressure back on Hazelwood and Stark, which is a very daunting task, especially with the Zimbabwean batsmen. I haven't faced a lot of Stark and Hazelwood, obviously, but they're definitely backing their game plan. Hazelwood bowls, and Kaya flashes this down to Stark at third man for a single, and that is the end of the over. It's none for 16 after 6. And Zimbabwe got their first boundary in that over, and move on to none for 16 from 6 overs. So we're nearly done in this first power play. So the opening batsman getting in, getting set, facing 22 balls and 14 balls respectively. So none for 16 from 6 overs. Around about 250 should be the target that Zimbabwe should be aiming for if they are going to be competitive against this Australian team. That's what they're going to be aiming for today. Around about 250 up towards maybe 300. If they lose some wickets, it may be a bit challenging up against this Australian attack. Anyway, we're going to have a change of the bowling. It's going to be Mitchell Marsh who's going to bowl to Kaya. He runs up, he bowls, and Kaya drives this back to mid-off, and there is no run. So Mitchell Marsh having a bowl early in the innings. Mitchell Stark having a rest. That's what Aaron Finch said about this one-day team for Australia. He said in his press conference that we're going to try different combinations, different structures, different game plans, different strategies, especially heading towards a 50-over World Cup next year in India. Marsh runs up, bowls, and and that's a good delivery from Marsh. Kaya plays and misses this. It squared him up, nearly got the outside edge, and that's a good ball there from Marsh. Yep, just squaring up the batsman, past the outside edge, and a good take from Alex Carey behind the stumps. But no damage done for Zimbabwe. No edge was found. Just got to put that out of your mind, Kaya, and play the next ball. Marsh bowls to Kaya, and Kaya tries to work this to mid-wicket. Cameron Green does the fielding. There is no run. And that's what they got to do, the Zimbabwean batsmen. Just got to try and get through that first initial spell, which they've done of Mitchell Stark. So Mitchell Stark, try and get through that first spell of his, and that's what they've done because Mitchell Marsh is on to bowl. They've got to do the same thing with Hazelwood as well and hope that they can score runs off the other bowlers, but it's not going to be easy. Marsh runs up to Kaya, and Kaya flicks him over the top. of square leg. Not going to go to the boundary. It's just going to be 2. Cameron Green does the fielding. So Zimbabwe trying to branch out here, trying to be aggressive, trying to play their shots. They've got in, they've got set. They feel like, right, okay, now's the time to put the pressure back on the Australian bowlers, and that's what they need to do here. So we're seeing a few shots, some shots in the air, some flick shots from both batsmen. So they're really trying to branch out here. Marsh bowls to Kaya, wraps him onto the pads, goes down to find leg for a leg bye, I think. What's going to be the call from the umpire? Either leg bye or run. And it's a leg bye. So none for 19. Last ball of the 7th over coming up here for Zimbabwe. Kaya on 9 off 27. Muramundi 8 off 14. Marsh bowls for his last ball of the over. Muramundi advances down the pitch. And he hits Mitchell Marsh over mid-wicket. It's going to plug in the outfield. It's not going to quite go to the boundary. They're going to pick up a couple there. Nope, they're going to pick up 3 to end the over. It's the end of the over. It's none for 22 after 7. And Zimbabwe trying to put the foot down, trying to put Australia under pressure with the ball here. And that's good. Be positive. And be positive and back your game plan. That's the key for Zimbabwe here. And that's what they're trying to do here. In the last few overs, they're trying to be aggressive, put the foot down, and I like that. Got to be aggressive, got to be positive as well. And that's what Zimbabwe are doing here to Australia. It's going to be Josh Hazlewood to continue. He's going to bowl his 4th over. This could be his last. And then Aaron Finch may consider a change. So Hazlewood, he'll be bowling to Muramundi, who's on 11 off 15. Kaya, 9 off 27, his partner at the other end. Here we go. Hazlewood bowls to Muramundi. Muramundi works this to Mitchell Marsh at mid-wicket, but there is no run. And also a reminder that later on this evening, we'll be back live streaming again on the podcast, this time for the BBL draft. So join me a bit later on this evening as we live stream and talk about the BBL draft. We're going to have some guests who are going to join us for that live stream as well a bit later on this evening. So join us for that, for the BBL draft, which is happening after this first ODI between Australia and Zimbabwe. Hazlewood bowls to Muramundi. He pulls them away through square leg for 4. A good shot from Muramundi. Hazlewood banged this one in short, and Muramundi was up to the task. And he pulled it away through square leg for 4. Good shot. Good intent here from Zimbabwe. And they're starting to put the foot down now. They're starting to be aggressive. They've gotten used to conditions. They've gotten used to the pitch. They're not afraid to take on Stark or Hazlewood or Mitchell Marsh, and that's what they're doing here. Hazlewood banged that in short. And Muramundi was able to get bat on that and hit that through square leg for 4. Hazlewood bowls, and Muramundi pushes this through the offside. David Warner does the fielding at wide mid-off, and there is no run. So 15 off 18 now for Muramundi. Kaya 9 off 27. Josh Hazlewood bowling his 4th over here. That previous boundary there from Muramundi. Hazlewood bowls. And Muramundi, dropped. Dropped at square leg by Mitchell Marsh. Muramundi had a big swing at this. And Mitchell Marsh puts down the catch. So the first chance Australia has created today. And Mitchell Marsh drops that. Oh, he got one hand to that. Yeah, just hit him on the thumb. Tough chance that, especially if it's a one-hander. And nearly there for Australia. You don't need to drop a catch. It happens. It's a part of the game. But for Mitchell Marsh, got one hand to that, but just hit the side of his thumb. And he wasn't able to get it back on the second attempt. But Hazlewood creating the first chance there. It's been put down. Runs up, bowls to Kaya. Kaya defends this. Mitchell Marsh does the fielding again on the offside, and there is no run. 1 ball remaining off the 8th over. And Maramundi got a second chance there. Drop catch from Mitchell Marsh. Just having a look at the replay again of that catch, or drop catch of Mitchell Marsh. Yeah, just hit him on the thumb. Did well to get a hand on that. So here we go. Hazelwood to bowl to Kaya, and Kaya defends this on the offside, and there's no run. It's the end of the over. It's none for 27 after 8. And Australia putting down that first wicket opportunity of this first ODI. They weren't able to grasp it. And Zimbabwe get away with that one. So they'll be hoping to make the most of it. Make the most of that second chance. Go on and score a big score if you can. So none for 27 after 8 for Zimbabwe. 2 overs left of the power play. Quite an overcast day in Townsville. There's a lot of clouds hovering above the ground. Let's hope there's no rain. But I think we'll be okay with the weather today. It's a bit overcast, but I hope the rain doesn't come and spoil the party. Mitchell Marsh back into the attack. He bowls to Maramundi. Maramundi pushes this to mid-on to Mitchell Stark, and there is no run. So for Zimbabwe, none for 27 in the 9th over. And looking to set the foundation of the platform here to try and get a big score against Australia. And Marsh bowls, and there's an appeal from Kerry. He went up for the caught behind. They thought Maramundi got a bit of edge on that, but Aaron Finch is not convinced. He's shaking his head. He wasn't convinced by that, and they're not going to waste the review. Only 2 reviews in one-day cricket. So Aaron Finch says, no, we're not going to go upstairs. And having a look at the replay, yeah, just missing the outside edge. Yeah, nothing on hot spot. So good decision not to review that. Marsh bowls to Maramundi, and this one's banged in short. Maramundi ducks underneath it. And that's called a wide. Score now moves on to none for 28 for Zimbabwe. So Australia, they've created one opportunity. Mitchell Marsh put down that catch. Tough chance. Did hit the side of his thumb. There was a one-handed chance. Runs up, he bowls, and a play and a miss from Maramundi. Trying to drive. Nearly got the outside edge again. But this time he misses it. And no damage is done. So 1 run off the over. That was the wide from Mitchell Marsh, that short ball above the shoulder. So Zimbabwe taking their time, being patient, being watchful. That's what they need to do here. Yeah, just playing away from his body there. They've got the outside edge there. Mitchell Marsh. Marsh bowls, and Maramundi works this onto the leg side for a single. Mitchell Stark does the mopping up. Throws the ball back into Carey. Keeping the energy up in the field, that's very important. Keep the energy up, and that's what you need to do in the field. Keep the energy up in the field and everyone up and about. So 2 balls remaining of this 9th over. Zimbabwe none for 29. Mitchell Marsh, he runs up again. He bowls. And Kaya works this to mid-wicket. Steve Smith there at mid-wicket, but there is no run. So Zimbabwe taking their time, just being patient, trying to build the foundation, build the partnership, doing the basics right as they try and look for a big total here. Marsh bowls and Kaya gets his past Steve Smith at mid-wicket for a quick single to end the over. That's the end of the over. It's none for 30 after 9, 1 over remaining of the first power play. We'll just update the score for everyone here. None for 9 after 30. Sorry, none for 30 after 9 for Zimbabwe. 1 over remaining of this power play. Just looking at some highlights of the last game that Zimbabwe played against India in that ODI series. Sakinda Raza scoring that century. Nearly got Zimbabwe over the line. He's going to be one of the key batsmen for Zimbabwe in this series against Australia. But it's the other batsmen that need to support him as well in terms of getting those runs and supporting him. But he's been in terrific touch for Zimbabwe over the last 2 series. Going to be changing the bowling. It's going to be Cameron Green for the first time today. 23 years old and early on in his international career, but he's got a lot of promise. He runs up, he bowls to Kaya, and it's a no ball straight away from Cameron Green. Not a good way to start your spell, bowling a no ball, a free hit. So that's the first no ball free hit of the innings. Opportunity for Zimbabwe to free the arms up here, especially for Kaya. And having a look at that no ball, yeah, it's a big no ball from Cameron Green, just overstriding. That can happen when you get a bit nervous. First over of the match, you can get overexcited, overstride a bit. That's what happened there with Cameron Green. He's got long legs. So here we go, a free hit for Kaya. What can he do? Swing the arms. Green bowls, and Kaya goes with a big heave-ho, and he misses it. And he goes straight to Carey. Straight through to the keeper and Carey, and there's no run. So Cameron Green got away with that free hit there. And try to go for the big shot there, Kaya, but didn't quite connect with it. And Cameron Green getting away with that free hit. So Green, he runs up, he bowls to Kaya, and Kaya gets trapped under the pad. There's an appeal from Green and the Australians, but it looked like it was going down the leg side. Aaron Finch is talking to Green here. Cameron Green gesturing that it was probably going down the leg side. Aaron Finch has gone up for the review. So the first DRS review of the innings. So we've got the first DRS review of the innings. It looked a bit leg-side-ish. It was going down the leg side. And Cameron Green was suggesting to Aaron Finch that it was going down the leg side. But Aaron Finch said, well, we might as well go upstairs and review it because you never know. Maybe umpires call in the end and maybe clipping the leg stump so we don't lose the review in the end. So Aaron Finch has said, why not? Let's go upstairs. So it's a fair delivery from Cameron Green. Now then, the business end. Where was it hitting? Is it going to hit the stumps? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't think Australia should have reviewed that. That's clearly missing leg stump. So a wasted review there from Aaron Finch. That's been the problem for the Australian team is the DRS. Not good with the DRS, Australia. You've got to be a bit better than that. Yeah, this one, obviously no bat involved. Doesn't really matter. You can see pretty much middle and off stump. And that's usually an indication that it's probably going to go down leg, and it has. So it's missed leg stump by quite a margin. So poor review there from Australia. And Zimbabwe carry on. So Cameron Green runs up, bowls to Kaya, and Kaya works this to the offside and can't get it past Steve Smith there at point. Knocks it on, but they concede a single. And Zimbabwe rotate the strike with that single there. Score now none for 32 for Zimbabwe. Last over of the power play before we enter the next power play, overs 11 to 40. You can have 4 men outside the circle. So for Zimbabwe, I think it's a good power play thus far, even though it hasn't shown in terms of the runs they've scored. But I think none for 32. They haven't lost any wickets. I think that's a big plus. They've got wickets in hand heading into this second power play of the innings. So that's good from Zimbabwe. Outside edge, and just wide of Finch have slip, and that's running away to the boundary for 4. Cameron Green got the outside edge there. But Maramundi gets past Finch at slip for 4 runs. And Zimbabwe starting to get some boundaries now. Yep, outside edge, the shoulder of the bat. Aaron Finch, couldn't get there in the end. At first slip, and it runs away to the third man boundary for 4. But, Aaron Finch just couldn't get there in the end. And 4 runs for Zimbabwe. Green bowls, and Maramundi drives straight back to Green, but Green does the fielding, and there's no run. 1 ball left of this 10th over. And not a bad power play, as I mentioned before, for Zimbabwe. Not a bad power play. Big bonus that they haven't lost a wicket. The runs are not as big, but you'll take that. If you're Zimbabwe, you'll take that power play. No wickets down, that's a big plus. So they'll be hoping to get out of the power play with no wickets down, and then hopefully looking to put on the pressure. This is important. Go through the gears here, Zimbabwe. So Green, last ball of the over to Maramundi in the power play. He bowls and Maramundi defends. And there is no run. That's the end of the over. It's none for 36 after 10, and that's the end of the first power play. And Zimbabwe none for 36 after 10. And we now enter the second power play of the innings. So you can have 4 men outside the 30-yard circle between overs 11 to 40. Zimbabwe none for 36 in the first power play. So it's been a pretty good power play from them. It's been solid. They've been watchful. There was a chance created. Mitchell Marsh dropped that. There were a few appeals for caught behind an LBW. Certainly Australia appealed, reviewed, I should say, that LBW that was missing the leg stump clearly. But it was all happening in that first 10 overs, in the words of Bill Laurie. It's all happening here in Townsville. But good crowd in Townsville. It's good to see a lot of people coming out to watch today's match. Marsh bowls, and Kaya gets an inside edge onto the pads, and there is no run. So none for 36 from 10.1 overs. Kaya on 11 from 36 balls. Maramundi, 21 of 26. So Zimbabwe going steady at the moment. And that's what they need to do here. But it's been good from Zimbabwe early on. Marsh bowls to Kaya. Kaya pulls this through mid-wicket. Gets it past the fielder at mid-wicket. They come back for 2. And Kaya moves on to 13. I think Glenn Maxwell was there at mid-wicket. Got past him, obviously. Nothing gets past Glenn Maxwell in the field. He's a pretty good fielder. Just having a look at Cameron Green. Obviously, when that ball was driven back to him, it hit him on the hand. So he's off the field to get some treatment. Let's hope it's not too serious, just probably a stinger. So get the magic spray on that or something, or a bit of strapping. Yeah, he's got a bit of strapping on that arm, on that hand, I should say. So he'll be back out on the field there shortly, Cameron Green. Marsh bowls to Kaya, and this one hits Kaya onto the pads, balloons up into the air, but it falls safe. There was no bat on that, I don't think. So all good there. And it's a dot ball. So the current run rate for Zimbabwe, 3.62. That's pretty good, not bad. They haven't lost any wickets, none for 38. Marsh bowls to Kaya. Kaya works this fine to find leg for 4. And is it runs or leg buys? Let's see what the call is. It's runs. So got a bit of bat on that, Kaya. Working that down to find leg for 4. And Zimbabwe starting to pick up the boundaries now. And they're starting to get the engine running, so to speak. So Kaya moves on to 17 now. Faces Marsh. Marsh bowls in the air, gone, caught and bowled. And that is the first wicket for Australia. Mitchell Marsh dropped the catch early on in the field of Josh Hazlewood's bowling. Now he comes on to bowl and he gets the wicket himself. Kaya gone for 17. It's 1 for 42 for Zimbabwe. And he just hit it straight back to him. Caught and bowled. A simple caught and bowled. Yep, high on the bat. Didn't quite hit it along the ground. Mitchell Marsh was ready and he got it. So good catch there from Mitchell Marsh. First wicket down for Zimbabwe. And that is the end of Kaya. He's gone for 17. It's 1 for 42. So good start there for Zimbabwe. Unfortunately for Kaya, his innings comes to a close. New batsman to the crease is, I believe it's Madhevere will be the new batsman at the crease. And it is Wesley Madhevere is the new batsman at the crease, age 21. 411 runs thus far in his early ODI career. He'll be looking to add on to that today. So disappointing there from Kai. Just hit that straight back to Mitchell Marsh. Simple caught and bowled. And Zimbabwe lose their first wicket after a very good opening stand. They'll be hoping to rebuild and get the innings back on track after that wicket. They'll be hoping to do that, Zimbabwe. But Australia strike for their first wicket. Caught and bowled from Mitchell Marsh. He's got 1 for 14. Last ball of his third over. Madhevere on strike to Mitchell Marsh. Aaron Finch doing some changes in the field. So we've still got the slip in place for Mitchell Marsh. Aaron Finch at slip. Here we go. Last ball of the over. Marsh runs up to bowls to Madhevere, and Madhevere defends this. Back down the pitch to Glenn Maxwell to end the over. That's the end of the over. It's a 1 for 42 after 11. Zimbabwe losing their first wicket in that over of Kaya. Hit it straight back to Mitchell Marsh. Caught and bowled. In the end, there we go. Just updated the score there. Yep, simple caught and bowled for Mitchell Marsh. Gone for 17. Kaya, just high on the bat. Didn't really time it at all. Wasn't really a good shot. And Mitchell Marsh gets the first breakthrough for the Australians. And he was disappointed with that shot as well, Kaya. He was looking to start to be aggressive and look to put the pressure back on Australia. Green continues. He runs up to bowls to Maramundi, and this is a play and a miss from Maramundi. And there is no run. So, be disappointed with that, Kaya. 17 off 40 he made in the end, but he'll be very disappointed not to get on, not to continue on. Hit a few boundaries. He was disappointed in himself. And that happens as a batsman when you get out. You're disappointed when you get out, but that's the way the game goes. Green bowls to Maramundi, finds the outside edge, and there is no run. So Zimbabwe looking to reconsolidate, looking to rebuild the innings here. Be a bit disappointed with that last wicket there of Kaya, just hitting that straight back to Mitchell Marsh. So Green runs up bowls to Maramundi, and Maramundi swings at this and he misses. And it goes straight through to the keeper for no run. So for Maramundi now, he's 21 off 29, I should say. Important for him just to keep his head. Don't do anything rash. You've gotten used to conditions. You've gotten used to the Australian bowlers, the pace of the wicket. So I think for him, it's all about just staying in and just making sure that he builds a partnership with Madhevere. Green runs up bowls, and Maramundi swings at this again. Swing and a miss, straight through to the keeper for no run. So I think for him, it's just about being patient, just doing the basics, rebuild a partnership here with Madhevere. And that's what he needs to do at the moment. And Zimbabwe can't afford to lose another wicket here and get 2 new batsmen in at the crease. Green runs up, bowls to Maramundi. Maramundi drives this. And David Warner does the fielding there at wide mid-off. And they get a single. Maramundi moves on to 22. Zimbabwe 1 for 43 with one ball remaining in the 12th over. And Madhevere will be on strike to Cameron Green for the first time. And he's yet to get off the mark. He's just faced the 1 ball. So Cameron Green, last ball of his over. He's bowling to Madhevere. He runs up, he bowls. And Madhevere defends it. And there is no run. That's the end of the over. It's 1 for 43 after 12. Fading the score here. There we go. So 1 for 43 after 12 overs. And Zimbabwe, they were going along nicely with that opening partnership between Kaya and Maramundi. Unfortunately for Zimbabwe, they lost Kaya, caught and bowled to Mitchell Marsh. And they've lost their first wicket of this innings. So they'll be hoping to get a partnership back here with Maramundi and Madhevere, looking to rebuild and consolidate. But for Australia, they'll be delighted with that first wicket of the day. Always a good feeling when you get the first wicket. So Marsh bowls to Maramundi. Leading edge. Ooh. Steve Smith does the fielding, and there is no run. So 22 off 31 for Maramundi. And just having a look at the replay here, just got a bit off the shoulder of the bat in the end. Nearly carried to Steve Smith. Shoulder, yep, handle of the bat. Marsh bowls to Maramundi. Maramundi pushes for a quick single. And he gets it in the end. David Warner does the fielding. His shoe has come off. But a quick single there. Good running there from Maramundi. Drop and run. Hit it down the ground. Get a quick single. Rotate the strike. Don't get bogged down at one end. And that's what Zimbabwe need to do. They need to rotate the strike. They can't afford to be stuck at one end for 6 balls. Otherwise, the Australian batsmen are going to build pressure. And that's where a wicket may occur. David Warner does the fielding here. And as he picks up the ball, his shoe comes off. But very quick in the field, David Warner. Marsh bowls to Madhevere. Madhevere defends this on the offside, and there's no run. So Maramundi, he's got a second chance, obviously. Mitchell Marsh dropped him on 15 not out. So he's got a second chance here, Maramundi. He's 23 or 33. He's got to make the most of this second chance. Mitchell Starc just limbering up, stretching up. I think Aaron Finch is going to bring him back into the attack. So Marsh to Madhevere. He runs up Marsh. He bowls to Madhevere. Madhevere defends this. Back down the pitch again for no run. 4 balls now he's faced Madhevere, yet to get off the mark. He'll be hoping to get off the mark. It's a good feeling when you get off the mark as a batsman. You don't want to get out for a duck. Good crowd in Townsville. A lot of people turning out to watch this first ODI, which is great. If you're in Townsville, head onto the ground, watch the game, see some international cricket, Australia and Zimbabwe. Marsh bowls, and Madhevere tries to work this onto the leg side. He does in the end. A bit of a misfield there from Glenn Maxwell, and they get a single. One for 45, Zimbabwe. 1 ball remaining of the 13th over. They'll be hoping to tick off some milestones here. Get to 50, then get to 100 if they can. Marsh bowls, and Maramundi pulls this through square leg. Marcus Dornis is there at deep square leg, does the fielding. They get a single to end the over. It's the end of the over. It's 1:46 after 13. We'll update the score. And there we go. 1:46 after 13 for Zimbabwe. And not a bad over there from Mitchell Marsh. 3 dot balls and 3 singles. So for Zimbabwe, Kaya, the only wicket to 4, caught and bowled to Mitchell Marsh for 17 or 40 balls he made in the end. Disappointed when he got out. He looked in, looked set. Good partnership for the opening wicket. So Cameron Green to continue. He bowls to Maramundi, who gets it inside edge. It beats Alex Carey. It runs away for 4. He moves on to 28, and the half century is up for Zimbabwe. 50 runs for Zimbabwe. 1 for 50, 50 up. So an inside edge here. And usually when that happens, it usually beats the keeper and it runs away for 4. And on this occasion, it has. Just having a look at the replay. Yeah, inside edge. And Alex Carey could not cut that off to save the boundary. But a handy boundary there for Zimbabwe. Just what they needed. So good start when you hit that boundary, the first ball of the over. Really puts the bowler under pressure as soon as you do that. Green runs up, bowls to Maramundi, works this through the offside, and he picks up a single. David Warner does the fielding, throws it back to Alex Carey behind the stumps, keeping the energy up in the field. The score moves on to 1 for 51. So Cameron Green, none for 12 from his 2.2 overs. And good to see Cameron Green get a go in this one-day side for Australia. He's got a lot of talent, a lot of potential. I thought he did well in Pakistan in that ODI series, and I thought he did well in Sri Lanka as well. So he runs up, bowls to Madhevere. Madhevere works this to Marcus Dornis on the leg side, and there is no run. So 13.3 overs thus far in the Zimbabwe innings. 1 for 51. I feel like they need 200 plus here, maybe 250 to challenge Australia with the bat. Because I feel like anything less than that, I think Australia are going to chase it down with ease. But we shall see what happens. It's still early days in this match. Green bowls to Madhevere. And Madhevere gets an inside edge onto the leg side behind square. Glenn Maxwell does the fielding. They get a single. They pinch another couple, maybe 3 here. It's overthrows. David Warner cuts it off before the ball reaches the boundary. So a bit of a sloppy piece of fielding there from Australia. Some overthrows. And Zimbabwe gets some extra runs, which is more important for them onto the total. Have a look at the replay here. Glenn Maxwell fielded that ball nicely. Threw it back to the striker's end. Mitchell Marsh was running around to back it up. Unfortunately, it went past Mitchell Marsh. David Warner had to mop it up because it went for overthrows and then it went to the boundary. So Australia, they're a bit sloppy there from Australia. Usually pride themselves on their fielding. Cameron Green bowls to Madhevere, top edge, and that's running down to the fine leg fielder and Adam Zampa for a single. So no trouble there for Madhevere. Would have been very nervous about that ball if it did carry to Adam Zampa at fine leg, but he got a top edge on this one. Didn't quite go to the boundary, just plugged in the ground at the end, well away from Adam Zampa, who does the mopping up and fields it. 1 for 56 for Zimbabwe. Last ball, the 14th over. Green runs up, bowls to Maramundi, and a good delivery from Green to end the over past the outside edge of Maramundi's bat. End of the over, it's 1 for 56 after 14. And Zimbabwe just starting to rebuild and get some momentum back into this innings and putting the pressure on on Australia here, I should say. So Maramundi, he's the important batsman here now for Zimbabwe. He's on 29 now. He's the top scorer of 37 balls. He's got a build a partnership here, which he's doing with Madhevere. He's 6 off 8. Aaron Finch has decided to bring back on Mitchell Starc. He's bowled 3 overs, 1 maiden, none for 5. He's gone for 1 and over, 1.67. He's 3 overs thus far. So he'll be bowling to Madhevere. He'll be looking to get a wicket if he can. So here we go. Mitchell Starc gets ready to bowl to Madhevere at the top of his mark. He trundles in past the umpire. He bowls. And Madhevere works this onto the leg side, but Starc does the fielding, mops it up, and there is no run. So Mitchell Starc had a very wayward first over. Didn't quite get the radar right when he bowled the first over of the match. But since he's come back for the last 2 overs he's bowled, he's done pretty well. He's got the radar back on track. And he'll be hoping to get a wicket here in this 4th over of his quota of overs. He bowls to Madhevere. Madhevere drives and plays and misses. Straight through to the keeper, and there's no run. Six off 10 now, Madhevere. He'll be hoping just to get in, get set, build a partnership here with Murramundi. Just having a look at a replay here of Murramundi at the crease using his feet. Getting to the pitch of the ball. So here we go. Starc runs up, bowls to Madhevere. And Madhevere works this fine down to the fine leg boundary, off the hip for 4. And that was a poor delivery there from Starc on the leg stump. Madhevere was able to work that inside the line and hit it down to the fine leg boundary for 4. And another boundary for Zimbabwe. Much needed boundary for them. They pick up the boundaries here and there, Zimbabwe. That's going to be important for them. Pick up the boundaries. Rotate the strike if they can. Build a partnership. Do the basics of batting. And that's what they need to do there. So much needed boundary there. Mitchell Starc got a bit too on the leg stump there. He bowls again to Madhevere. And Madhevere pushes this to the offside, I should say, for a quick single. And in the end, they do get the single. So that's good running there from Zimbabwe. That's what we mean by doing well in terms of running between the wickets. Just pushing the ball onto the offside, drop and run. And that's what they did there. So a good single there from Madhevere. Looking to get busy at the crease. He's 11 off 12. Just a push onto the offside. And then a quick single there. David Warner does the fielding, try to throw the stumps down. In the end, he hit Madhevere in the end. No damage done for Zimbabwe. So Starc bowling to Murramundi for the first time in this over. He bowls in the air and just short of David Warner at mid-off. And Mitchell Starc nearly got the second wicket there. Murramundi hit this one in the air. Didn't quite time it. The bat turned in his hands, and luckily it didn't carry to David Warner at mid-off. At wide mid-off, I should say. So he got away with that one. Murramundi there. So Zimbabwe, slow and steady. 1 for 61. Starc bowls his final ball. This one's a full toss, and Murramundi hits it straight back to Starc. It's a dot ball to end the over. It's the end of the 15th over. It's 1 for 61. And Zimbabwe going along steadily at a steady pace, taking their time. No need to rush. No need to do anything rash. And as we speak, it is drinks. It's going to be a drinks break. I'm going to pop out for a little bit, everyone. As we have this drinks break, I'll be right back in a short while. Right, we're still in the drinks break of this first ODI between Australia and Zimbabwe from Townsville. Thus far, it's slow and steady for Zimbabwe. 1 for 61 after 15 overs. We're in the second power play. They've lost a wicket that was high up, caught and bowled by Mitchell Marsh in the end. He's the only wicket to fall thus far for Zimbabwe. But since then, the two batsmen in the middle at the moment, in Muramundi and Madhevere, they've done pretty well. They've rebuilt. They've established a partnership. They've hit a few boundaries. And for Zimbabwe, that's very important for them in terms of building a partnership, building to a total that they feel like they can defend. So it's going to be Adam Zampa. He's going to come into the attack. So we're going to see spin for the first time today. And it's going to be Adam Zampa into the attack. Back into the Australian team, obviously didn't play in the series against Zimbabwe in the ODIs and T20s, obviously, due to family reasons. But he's back into the team today, and he'll be looking to get an early wicket if he can. So 1 for 61, Zimbabwe, 15 overs. Madhevere, 11 off 12. He's on strike to Adam Zampa. Muramundi, 29 off 39. Aaron Finch bringing in the spinner, the leg spinner, and Adam Zampa. So Zimbabwe, they've only lost one wicket. That was Kaya, 17, caught and bowled by Mitchell Marsh. It's the only wicket to fall thus far in the Zimbabwean innings, I should say. Here we go, Madhevere on strike to Zampa, runs up, bowls, and Madhevere works this to the offside to cover. Steve Smith there does the fielding, then there's no run. So Zimbabwe, they'll be looking just to face a few overs of Adam Zampa, looking to get in, get set against him, and then hopefully be aggressive towards him. Zampa bowls, and Madhevere defends this. It trickles to the leg side. Alex Carey does the fielding. And there is no run. So Adam Zampa, good start from him. 2 dot balls to begin this over. And he bowls to Madhevere. Madhevere works this behind square. On the leg side, down to the fine leg fielder for a single. Zampa bowls to Muramundi. He's trapped on the pad. There's an appeal. Adam Zampa appeals. Alex Carey appealed as well. They're not going to go upstairs for the review, Australia. They've already burnt one review today. Let's have a look at this one. Did hit him on the pad. We'll talk about that a bit later. Zampa bowls, and Muramundi works this to the leg side. Mitchell Starc does the fielding, and they pick up a couple of runs. 1 for 64, Zimbabwe. Let's have a look at this LBW appeal. Now, it could have been a bit of bat and glove there, I think. It looked pretty good, but yeah, just a bit of glove on that, on a hot spot. Good decision by Rod Tucker, the umpire. Zampa bowls, and Muramundi tried to go for a reverse sweep here. Misses it. Carey does well behind the stumps. It's a dot ball. It's the end of the over. It's 1 for 64 after 16. So Adam Zampa's first over done. 3 runs from it. Getting into his work. Let's have a look at that LBW again. That LBW appeal in the over, but there was a bit of glove on that. So good decision by Rod Tucker. Good decision by Australia not to review that. They did get the glove. So Mitchell Starc continues. And he'll be hoping to get a wicket here if he can. But Zimbabwe going along nicely. Sorry about this, everyone. Just have to reload my stream that I'm watching the game from. So I do apologize. Just reloading it now, so hopefully we can see what's happening. So do bear with me, everyone. Here we go. Yeah, we're back now. So Starc bowls his second ball to Maramundi. It's a short ball. Maramundi ducks under it, and there is no run. So none for 11 for Mitchell Starc from 4.2 overs. A single and a dot to begin this 17th over. For Zimbabwe, Adam Zampa has been brought into the attack by Aaron Finch. Mitchell Starc bowls to Maramundi, and he stops. I think just missing his run up there, Mitchell Starc. That's why he stopped. The umpire signals dead ball, and all is well. So Mitchell Starc will have to go again. So Maramundi, 31 off 43. He's gotten in, he's gotten set. Now he's got to go on and get a big score here for Zimbabwe. Madhevere's done well to support him, 13 off 16. Starc runs up again for his third ball. Past the umpire, he bowls to Maramundi. Maramundi tries to work this behind square on the leg side. He'll pick up a leg by. Alex Carey does the fielding. And they pick up a leg by. Zimbabwe, they move on to 1 for 66. That one just catching the pads. And they went through for the leg by there. Zimbabwe will take every run when it comes. Madhevere on strike, 13 off 16. He'll be facing Starc for the fourth ball of this over. Starc, he runs up, he bowls, and Madhevere drives to David Warner at mid-off for a quick single. Good running there, drop and run. Look to rotate that strike, and that's very important for Zimbabwe. Look to rotate the strike, and that's very important for them to do. To do that, Maramundi, he's only 20 years old. He's got 86 runs in his 7th match ODI career, so he hasn't played long in one-day cricket, so fairly new on the scene. So he'll be hoping to push on here and get a big score if he can. Starc bowls to Maramundi, and Maramundi gets a bit of bat on that. Luckily, he did. Otherwise, he would have been trapped in front. LBW, if that missed the bat, probably onto the pads and then maybe probably onto the stumps. But he did well to get a bit of bat on that. So we have a look. Yep. Got a bit of bat on that. Mitchell Starc trying to aim for those pads, those toes, the stumps, the Yorker. He bowls that well, Mitchell Starc. Trying to get that ball to swing back into the pads of the batsman. Starc runs up bowls to Maramundi. Maramundi works this to mid-on for a quick single to end the over. It's the end of the over. It's 1 for 68 for Zimbabwe after 17 overs. So 1 for 68 after 17 overs for Zimbabwe. We're in the second power play, where you can have 4 fielders outside the 30-yard circle. And for Australia, they've done okay, Australia. They've taken a wicket. They've created some chances. There's been some appeals. There's been some chances that have been put down. There was one chance of Mitchell Marsh. So 1 over of Glenn Maxwell. 1 over of Adam Zampa, and Glenn Maxwell comes into the attack. So he replaces Adam Zampa. Maybe Adam Zampa's changing ends, and probably that was Mitchell Starc's last over. We shall see what happens in the next over. But Glenn Maxwell, a handy off spinner, comes into the attack. He'll be bowling to Maramundi. And Australia trying different options. Obviously, in Sri Lanka, Australia ran out of options due to injuries and really struggled in terms of taking wickets in that series against Sri Lanka. But in this series against Zimbabwe, and certainly against New Zealand and England later on in the summer, they won't have any problems with options. Maxwell bowls to Maramundi. Maramundi plays a reverse sweep, and it gets past Mitchell Starc for 4 runs. So a bit of a misfield there from Mitchell Starc. 4 runs to Maramundi. That's another boundary for him. Not a good start from Glenn Maxwell to begin his first over. Reverse sweep there from Maramundi. Clever shot. Gets it past Mitchell Starc there. That short third man for 4 runs. So Zimbabwe picking up the odd boundary here and there. Maxwell bowls to Maramundi. This has worked to point for a single. Moves on to 37 now of 48. One for 73 Zimbabwe. In the 18th over, Glenn Maxwell replacing Adam Zampa, none for 5. From his first 2 balls, a boundary and a single. So he'll be bowling to Madhevere, 14 off 17 for him. Just having a look at the over rate. It's 11.5 overs per hour. So Australia will be hoping to bowl the overs quickly with spin here. Maxwell bowls to Madhevere. Madhevere works as to Steve Smith onto the leg side. And there is no run. Definitely over rate's a big problem in the game, as we all know. Maxwell bowls to Madhevere. It's a dot ball. And there is no run. So here we go. Maxwell bowls in the air, just short to Adam Zampa. So Madhevere gets away with that one. End of the over from Glenn Maxwell. Sorry, my mistake. There's 1 ball left. So Maxwell bowls the last ball of the over now to Madhevere. Madhevere hits this through point on the offside for a single to end the over. It's the end of the over. It's 1 for 74 after 18. And Glenn Maxwell finishes his first over. So 1 for 74 for Zimbabwe. Maramundi, 37 off 48. Madhevere, 15 off 21. Building a partnership after the wicket of Kaya, caught and bowled by Mitchell Marsh for 17. Sekinder Raza looking relaxed next to the coach. He'll be waiting to get out there, hopefully with the bat. He's been in good touch, scoring some centuries and big runs for Zimbabwe over the last couple of series. So it was a change of ends for Adam Zampa. Comes back on into the attack now. Adam Zampa replaces Mitchell Starc. So it was a change of ends. He probably thought, I would like the other end than this end. So that's why Glenn Maxwell bowled that one over just to change the ends. So he's back into the attack now, Adam Zampa replaces Mitchell Starc. He bowls to Madhevere. And Madhevere hits this down the ground on the offside to Steve Smith at mid-off for a single. That's going to be very important for Zimbabwe, especially when they're facing Adam Zampa, making sure they rotate the strike, use their feet if they can. We got some people in the chat. Thunder Hayes, hello. Hope you're well. And Gaming Crab, going pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty watchful for Zimbabwe. Zampa bowls to Maramundi. Maramundi works this to the leg side for a couple of ones. Bit of a misfield there from Mitchell Marsh. Yeah, it's going well at the moment for both teams. In fact, it's been pretty watchful from both teams. Slow and steady from Zimbabwe. 1 for 77. Zampa bowls to Maramundi. That's down the leg side, and there'll be a wide extra run for Zimbabwe. But it's going pretty well for both teams. I think Zimbabwe, for them, I think it's about trying to keep wickets in hand if they can. They've already lost 1 wicket thus far. Zampa bowls to Maramundi. Maramundi works his behind square on the leg side for a single. Moves on to 40. He's done pretty well off 50 balls. Madhevere on strike, 16 off 22. They've done well, this pair, for the second wicket to rebuild the innings, get back on track. But I think that will be the key for Zimbabwe off Adam Zampa, is to rotate the strike against him. Zampa bowls to Madhevere. Madhevere works this down to Steve Smith at long off for a single. So that's what they need to do. Good here from Zimbabwe. Rotate the strike, making sure they don't let Adam Zampa settle into a rhythm, in particular, especially to one particular batsman. Otherwise, you're going to get out, or the pressure's going to mount. Zampa bowls to Maramundi. Maramundi works this behind square on the leg side. Down to fine leg for a single. 1 ball remaining in the 19th over. Zimbabwe going steady at the moment. Madhevere, 17. On strike now to Zampa, who bowls, and Madhevere defences. Back down the pitch for a dot ball to end the 19th over. It's the end of the over. It's 1 for 81 after 19. Take the score here. So a reminder for everyone that we are going to be back later on this evening. We're going to be live streaming the BBL draft. So the timings for that are on our YouTube channel. So please do join us for the BBL draft later on this evening. So after the first ODI between Australia and Zimbabwe, the BBL draft will take place. So join us then. We're going to have some guests joining me, discussing the BBL, discussing the draft, discussing all the teams' chances this BBL season. Gaming Crab, thanks for dropping by in the chat. You say it's Starc's 100th ODI game. I had wished he would have had gotten a 5-wicket haul. It is his 100th ODI game, Gaming Crab, today, which is a proud achievement for any player to play 100 matches in any format of cricket, be it Tests, ODIs, or T20s. He's bowled okay in this match today. Mitchell Starc hasn't really quite got the radar right, but at times he got it right and he looked pretty good. But yes, 100th ODI for Mitchell Starc today. So Glenn Maxwell back into the attack, and Australia going for spin at both ends. Maxwell bowls to Maramundi, works this to square leg, but there is no run. David Warner at square leg does the fielding. So spin at both ends for Australia. Going with Zampa and Maxwell trying to get through these middle overs. Often as most people say in one-day cricket, often the boring overs. Nothing really happens in the middle overs. But important for Zimbabwe to keep going and to keep rotating the strike and keep scoring if they can. And a single there to Maramundi. Moves on to 42. Madhevere on 17. He's on strike now to Maxwell. So Zimbabwe Very important for them to really do well in these middle overs. Here, works this onto the leg side to mid-wicket and picks up another single. So that's very good from Zimbabwe. Just rotating the strike. That's what they need to do. Rotate the strike in these middle overs. That's what you need to do here. So Maramundi on strike to Maxwell. Last ball, the 20th over. Maxwell bowls and worked away behind square on the leg side from Maramundi for a single. Adam Zampa does the fielding. It's the end of the over. It's 1 for 84 after 20. I'll just update the score here so everyone can see what the score is after 20 overs. It's 1 for 84. Gaming Crab, thanks for your question here. What are your thoughts on taking Cameron Green over Sean Abbott as the main bowler? I think Australia are showing confidence in Cameron Green. I think he's got a lot of potential. Sean Abbott's done pretty well in the past for Australia. But I think with Australia, I think they would like to see Cameron Green sort of have that responsibility of being the main bowler. That's why they would like to have him in the side as a main bowler. He's batting at number 8 in today's game, which I think is a bit too low for him. But without no Pat Cummins, he has that responsibility of being that main bowler with Stark and Hazelwood. They would have gone either way, but I think they'll try and rotate that as the series progresses. I think Aaron Finch has said, we are going to try different combinations, different lineups, different teams throughout this ODI series against Zimbabwe and also against New Zealand and then against England for that ODI series when they come out in November. So I think we may see Sean Abbott in the next game or, take over that role as being one of the main bowlers, obviously without Pat Cummins in the side. So I think they're just alternating that position, I think, with Cameron Green and Sean Abbott. I think they'll do that throughout this series. So I hope that answers your question, Gaming Crab. Thanks for joining us. And thank you to everyone who's watched this watch along with me. First ODI of the summer. Quite an early start to the Australian summer in August. It's still winter. It's not even summer yet. But doesn't matter. Any month. Doesn't matter. Always a good month for cricket, I say. So 1 for 87 for Zimbabwe. 3 balls into the 21st over. These middle overs are very important for Zimbabwe here. They've got to rotate the strike. They've got to hit boundaries when they can. They've really got to put pressure onto the Australian bowlers that they can. Zampa bowls to Maramundi. Maramundi works this to Aaron Finch behind square on the leg side, and there's no run. So two runs and a wide and 3 dot balls for Adam Zampa, and he's over. He runs up. He bowls to Maramundi again. Maramundi advances down the pitch and a miss. No, he's bowled him. And that's the end of Maramundi. He went down the pitch to Adam Zampa, missed it completely, and Adam Zampa has bowled him. All ends up. And the second wicket falls for Zimbabwe. They're 2 for 87. That is the end of Maramundi. His innings comes to a close. And a good delivery from Adam Zampa. Yep, just straight through the gate. Bowled him, all ends up. And that is the end of Maramundi. His innings comes to a close. And Zimbabwe lose their second wicket. They're 2 for 87. That is the end of Maramundi. He's gone for 45 off 61 balls. Batted for 98 minutes. He has to go. Zimbabwe. 2 down for 87. Gaming Crab, you say, why are all Australians good commentators? Oh, good one, Sampers. It was a good delivery there from Adam Zampa. I don't know. I guess, we always had good commentators. I think from Richie Beno to Tony Gregg in Tony Gregg wasn't Australian, but Tony Gregg, Richie Beno, Bill Laurie, Ian Chappell. We've always had good Australian commentators when it comes to cricket, obviously. we can sort of claim Tony Greig as an Australian, obviously, because he did live in Australia, even though he was from South Africa and played for England back in the day. But he was a great commentator nonetheless. New batsman into the crease is Mayonga. And got a lot of work to do here. Be disappointed with that, Maramundi. He looked set. He needed to go on and make a big score here. Unfortunately, he got out at the wrong time. So good wicket there from Adam Zampa. Maramundi tried to go down the pitch. Got clean bowled in the end. I thought it missed everything. I thought it didn't bowl him, but it did. In the end. So that's the end of the over. It's 2 for 88 after 21. And Zimbabwe. Not ideal to lose that wicket. And he'll be disappointed by that, Maramundi, going down the pitch. And that one went through the gate, clean bowled him. Adam Zampa, good bowler. As we know, he's been a good leg spinner for Australia for many years. He's gotten better as the years progressed in his career thus far as a leg spinner. And a very handy bowler for Australia who was dearly missed in the Sri Lanka series recently. But for Aaron Finch, he'll be glad to have Adam Zampa back into the team. So Josh Hazlewood back into the attack. Good move from Aaron Finch. Get Josh Hazlewood back into the attack. Your strike bowler looking to get another wicket here. He bowls to Marayonga, and Marayonga leaves this outside the off stump, and there's no run. Just having a look at the wicket again from Adam Zampa. Went down the pitch, Maramundi. Yeah, through the gate. Not a good shot. And clean bowled it. So good delivery there from Adam Zampa. Well, we're just having a look at the replay of Adam Zampa trying to set up Maramundi for that wicket. Hazlewood comes in, bowls to Marayonga. Marayonga defends this, and there's no run. 2 for 88, Zimbabwe in the 22nd over. They'll be hoping to get a partnership here again, try and rebuild the innings. That's the thing. When you lose a wicket, you go backwards a bit. You've got to rebuild again. For Zimbabwe, they got to get some runs here. They really got to put the pressure on Australia and be aggressive if they can. Hazlewood bowls to Marayonga. Marayonga plays this with a straight bat, defends it back down the pitch, and there's no run. So Marayonga up to the task here. He knows what to do. He needs to build a partnership here with Madhevere. He's 18 off 25. And that's what they need to do here. Gaming Crab, you say yesterday was Sir Donald Bradman's birthday. Yes, it was. It was his birthday. Was there any street in the cricket fans in Australia? Well, he's got a lot of stuff named after him, if you're asking that, Gaming Crab. He's got a lot of names, a lot of places, streets, grounds, stands named after him. But yes, it was his birthday yesterday, Sir Donald Bradman. He's got a few. Obviously, he's got a stand named after him at the Adelaide Oval, of course, the Sir Donald Bradman Pavilion. He's got a street named after him as well in Adelaide. In Barrel, he's got the Bradman Oval, obviously where he was born in New South Wales. So he's got a lot of places named after him, of course, but rightly deserved. One of the legends of Australian cricket and world cricket. There won't be any other batsman in world cricket like Sir Donald Bradman. He was one of a kind and an absolute legend. The original GOAT, as we use that term these days to describe best players of all time and greatest of all time. He was certainly one of the greatest of all time, Sir Donald Bradman. And many of the batting records that he set will never be broken in world cricket, I don't think. To average 99.94. Unbelievable. No one will ever match that again. So obviously happy birthday to the great man, Sir Donald Bradman, for yesterday. But yes, it was his birthday yesterday. Hazelwood bowls to Mayonga. Last ball of the over. It's left by Mayonga for a dot ball. It's the end of the over. It's 2 for 88 after 22 overs. So, 2 for 88 after 22 overs. Adam Zampa to continue to Madhevere, 18 off 25. And he'll be looking to get another wicket if he can, Adam Zampa. But good to see him back into the Australian one-day side. He was dearly missed in Sri Lanka. He runs up to bowls to Madhevere. Madhevere defends this on the leg side. David Warner does the fielding, and there's no run. Zampa again runs up, bowls to Madhevere. Madhevere hits this down the ground on the leg side for a quick single. Mitchell Stark does the fielding, and they pick up another run, Zimbabwe. Move on to 2 for 89. So that's what they need to do in these middle overs. We often talk about the middle overs in one-day cricket. Often a lot of people say nothing really happens in the middle overs. But it's very important to do the basics right. And for Zimbabwe here, it's just about rotating the strike. They've done that in this over to Zampa thus far, picking up the single. Zampa bowls, and Mayonga advances down the pitch, works this through square leg for another single. That's good from Zimbabwe there. Just picking up these singles when they can, not letting Adam Zampa settle into his groove, get into a rhythm. I think that's very important for Zimbabwe, especially with the facing the Australian bowlers, which they haven't faced a lot. Zampa bowls to Madhevere. Madhevere sweeps this behind square on the leg side for a single. It's very important for them just to rotate that strike and make sure that they don't let the Australian bowlers bowl to them. Gaming Crab, I'll come to your question after this ball from Zampa. He bowls to Mayonga. Mayonga tries to work that around the corner, but it's a wide down the leg side, so has to bowl that again, Adam Zampa. Gaming Crab, you ask your thoughts on Maxwell's immensely great ODI form. He's done pretty well in one-day cricket, Adam Zampa. Glenn Maxwell. Hasn't really scored the big scores that he would have liked, Glenn Maxwell. In the series against Sri Lanka, he did all right. But I feel like with Maxwell in this one-day side for Australia, Zampa bowls, and that's a dot ball. Mario defends that. It's the end of the over. It's 2 for 92 after 23. I feel like that, his role in this side is a bit muddled, I think. He's batting at number 7 in this game today, which I think it's a bit of a waste for Glenn Maxwell. So I'm not really sure about his position in this one-day team. His role, his specific role, I think, is a bit muddled, I think. Where do you want him? Do you want him at number 7? Do you want him to bat up the order? Do you want him to bowl overs of spin and be that all-rounder that you want? Glenn Maxwell has ups and downs, as we all know, in his career. But, when he turns it on, he's a very good bowler. A very good batsman, I should say, Glenn Maxwell. He's played some very good knocks in his career. But he hasn't got a lot of centuries in his one-day career, obviously. He's got the 2 centuries, one against Sri Lanka in the World Cup in 2015 in Sydney. And obviously he got that century in 2020 against England at Old Trafford with Alex Carey in that partnership. So he's quite inconsistent, Glenn. I would like to see some more consistency from him, but he's definitely a match winner for Australia. But I'm unsure about his role in this one-day team. What's his specific role that Australia want him to do? And he's been talking about Test cricket as well. Coming back to that, he could be featuring in India next year. He's talked about that. Obviously, he was considered for selection for the Sri Lanka series. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. It'd be interesting to see what Glenn Maxwell can do. But he's a very good limited overs player, as we all know throughout the years. He's done some very good stuff. But thanks for your question there, Gaming Crab. I hope that's answered it. So Josh Hazlewood continuing to Mayonga, third ball of the over. He bowls to Mayonga. Mayonga defends us back down the pitch for no run. Josh Hazlewood does the fielding, walks back to his mark, thinking about what ball he should bowl next. Gaming Crab, thanks for your comment again. I wholeheartedly agree with you. He has been batting at number 7 after the Cricket World Cup 2019. He should be batting at number 5 or at least at number 6. Yeah, I think he's wasted at number 7. You know, you should have Alex Carey at number 7. They've had Alex Carey up the order. I don't know where he's batting in this match, Alex Carey, but he's batting up the order 5 or 6. I think that's too high for Alex Carey in the international side. He's done that for state cricket and for South Australia. He's batted up the order. But not in international cricket. I think you should have your best players come in early. I can understand different situations of the match and that, but I think Glenn Maxwell's just wasted at number 7. It's too low. You should have Carey at number 7, and you should have, as you say, probably Maxwell at 5 or 6. I think that's a better option for Australia to have rather than at number 7, because he's just wasted down there. But anyway, that's Australia's decision there. That's what Aaron Finch has decided, and that's what they've decided on with Glenn Maxwell in his role. As a, what's his role in this team? That's what they want him to do. Bat at number 7 and be that all-rounder. So Josh Hazlewood, none for 17, 5.5 overs. Madhevere's on 21 off 31. Mayonga, 3 off 12. 2 for 94 for Zimbabwe. People in the chat, what do you think should be the target for Zimbabwe? What sort of score do you think they need to be competitive against Australia? I think around about probably 250 minimum, I think, but it's going to be a battle if they lose wickets to get there. But they've done well to build partnerships after losing wickets. So it's the end of the over. It's 2 for 95 after 24 for Zimbabwe. They're going along steadily. And we're nearly halfway through the first innings. Thanks, everyone, for dropping in. Gaming Crab, you say they should go for 260 odd. Yes, anything 250 and above, I think, for Zimbabwe will be competitive. Anything below that, I think Australia will chase down with ease, given the quality of the batting lineup. You've got Smith, you've got Finch and Warner if they get off to a fly. You've got Maxwell. Stoinis, and their bowlers are quite inexperienced against the Australian batsmen. Obviously, they haven't played against Australia all that often. So for Zimbabwe, definitely 250 and beyond is probably the target they should be aiming for. Zampa bowls to Madhevere, and Madhevere whacks Adam Zampa back down the ground for 4. That's what you like to see from Zimbabwe. Bit of aggression, take on Adam Zampa, play with that positive intent. And that's what he's done there. So Zimbabwe trying to up the ante here. Good shot there from Madhevere. Good use of the feet. Hitting that back down the ground past Adam Zampa for 4. And that's a good shot. Zampa bowls to Madhevere. Works this to the leg side. Down to Mitchell Starc at mid-on for a quick single. Good rotation of strike. As soon as he hit the boundary, get the single. Already 5 runs off the over. Adam Zampa under pressure. Doing the basics here, Zimbabwe. You've got to do the basics, right? And that's what they're doing. Gaming Crab, you also ask, who are your favorite players in every format? Oh, that's a tough one. We'll answer that in a minute after this ball. Zampa bowls to Mayonga. Mayonga hits us up and over, down to the mid-wicket boundary for 4. And Zimbabwe starting to put the pressure back on the Australians. Couple of boundaries in the over now and a single, so already 9 runs off the over. That's good batting from Zimbabwe. They can't let Adam Zampa settle into a rhythm. And they've got to decide, right, we've got to go now. And that's what he's done. He's hit that down to the mid-wicket boundary for 4. Mayonga, so that's his first boundary, I believe, in this innings. Oh, that's a bit of a tough one. It's like, who are my favorite players in every format? Oh, that's very tough. Anyway, Zampa bowls. Mayonga goes big. And, oh, what a catch from Steve Smith. And he went for the big shot, too many there, Mayonga. He's on his way. He's gone. I'll come back to answering your question in a minute, Gaming Crab, because Adam Zampa's just taken his second wicket. Mayonga has to go. Well, I think he got a bit of a rush of blood in his head there, Mayonga, after he hit that boundary. He wanted to go for more. Unfortunately, it was a wrong in from Adam Zampa. Came out of the back of the hand. Steve Smith running back, looking over his shoulder. Often those catches are quite difficult to take, but he took that well. And a very good catch from Steve Smith. And Australia pick up the second wicket. And that is the end of Mayonga. He's got to go for 7. And Zimbabwe are 3 for 104. And the important batsman comes to the crease now, Symonds Raza. And he's got to score some runs here. Zimbabwe have relied on him heavily in the last 2 ODI series. Your question, Gaming Crab, favourite players in each format? Oh, that's very tough. That is a very tough question. There's so many great players there that are playing in every format at the moment. If you're talking about currently, I will have to say, for me, Steve Smith in test matches. In ODIs, I think Virat Kohli, given his record. Obviously, I know he's been out of form of late, but you can never keep a good player down for long. And in T20s, I think Rohit Sharma, I think. Those are my current favourite players to watch in all formats at the moment. Obviously, Gaming Crab, what are your favourite players in every format? It'd be interesting to see who you select. But thanks for asking the question. So, Symonds Raza on strike to Adam Zampa here. And Zimbabwe built a partnership, then lost a wicket. That's been the story of the innings. They've built a partnership, then lost a wicket. They can't afford to do that, Zimbabwe. Otherwise, they're going to lose momentum in this innings. But Symonds Raza, the important batsman for them now, he faces Adam Zampa for the first time. Last ball of the over, Zampa bowls. Symonds Raza works this down to the fine leg boundary, sweeps this. Cameron Green does the fielding, comes back for 2, and he gets there in the end. And that's the end of the over. It's 3 for 107 after 25. And we're halfway through this first innings of this first ODI between Australia and Zimbabwe. And Zimbabwe losing 3 wickets thus far. And Australia will be delighted picking up those 3 wickets. Just getting into their work here, Australia. And yeah, disappointed with that shot, Mayonga. So 3 for 107. 25 overs for Zimbabwe. Halfway through the innings, got to get at least up towards 250 plus to be competitive. Gaming Crab. Sure, I'll go all Aussie in Smith, Marnus and Test, Stark and Maxwell in ODIs, Warner and Maxi in T20 internationals. That's pretty good. They're all good players in all those formats. Very good careers in all formats. Obviously, Marnus is going to have a good career in Test cricket, of course. Obviously, got left out of this ODI team for this first game against Zimbabwe, but hopefully we see Marnus back in the second game, which is on Wednesday. Hazlewood bowls to Madhevere, and a play and a miss outside the outside edge, and there is no run. Good delivery first up there from Hazlewood, challenging the outside edge of Madhevere's bat. Certainly improved over the years, Josh Hazlewood, as not only as a test bowler, but as a limited overs bowler as well. He's gotten better in T20s. He's Australia's #1 T20 bowler. And also in ODIs, he's pretty good as well. So he bowls to Madhevere again, and Madhevere flicks him over mid-wicket. Ashton Agar on the field. They'll pick up a couple. And Zimbabwe move on to 3 for 109. So 25.2 overs, 3 for 109. Thank you everyone for watching or dropping in. Thank you for the comments in the chat. Keep them coming in. Talk about cricket. Obviously, we've been watching this first ODI between Australia and Zimbabwe, and it's good to see Zimbabwe back in Australia. Obviously, it's been a long time since they've played in Australia, not since 2003-04, but it's great to see them here. Great to see them kicking off the Australian summer in August. It's quite an early start to the Australian summer. I can't remember an Australian summer starting this early. But anyway, it's starting this early because it's a busy summer ahead in Australia, of course. We've got Australia, Zimbabwe, Australia, New Zealand, England coming out, the West Indies, South Africa, T20 World Cup. So it's definitely a big summer. Gaming Crab, thanks for your other question. Your thoughts on underrated players like AJ Tye and Jason Behrendorff, who are players I like, but don't get enough chances. Yeah, they do. I think, AJ Tye's done pretty well in T20 cricket for a while in the BBL. He's done well in overseas tournaments as well. Jason Behrendorff, he's had a lot of injuries, Jason Behrendorff. So he's had a lot of back injuries and that. He's played for Australia a handful of times. It's just how the selectors are feeling, whether they feel like, we select AJ Tye or Behrendorff. But yeah, they don't get enough chances, but that's the way it goes in cricket, obviously. You got to put your hand up for selection and hope to get selected by the selectors. But yeah, they are two very good bowlers. They've done pretty well in the Big Bash for the Scorchers. In recent years, done pretty well for Australia when they've got the chance. And also when they've played in the IPL, they've done pretty well. But yeah, limited opportunities for them at this current moment in time. But hopefully we see them back in Australian colours very shortly. Obviously, with a 50-over World Cup on the horizon, they may be considered for that. But we shall see what happens in the future with AJ Tye and Jason Behrendorff. But thanks for the question again, Gaming Crab. I hope that's answered your question. Josh Hazlewood, last ball of the 7th over for him. He's going to be bowling to Raza, who's 2 off 3. Last ball of the 26th over. He bowls. Raza leaves this outside the off stump. Not interested in playing that delivery. End of the over, it's 3 for 110 after 26. Update the score here. Gaming Crab, you say, it's hard to get picked when you have Stark, Cummins and Hazlewood. Yeah, it is. Obviously, those bowlers are going to play all the time, obviously. If one of those bowlers get rested or injured, then, other opportunities like for Tye and Hazlewood will, Tye and Behrendorff, they'll get the opportunity if those players do get rested or injured. But with Stark, Cummins and Hazlewood all fit and firing, it's definitely going to be a hard bowling attack to come into. But it's definitely a good attack. And I think that's a good thing for Australia, having that depth in the fast bowling ranks. We always produce very good fast bowlers in Australia, given the conditions, and we always produce that depth, which is good. And that's very important going into the future as well. When Stark and Cummins and Hazlewood do eventually retire, it's very good to have that depth coming through. Mitchell Stark back into the attack, and he'll be bowling to Madhevere. The first ball was a dot ball. So Mitchell Stark into his 6th over. Hazlewood's bowled 7. 4 overs for Mitchell Marsh. 3 overs for Green. 5 for Zampa. 2 for Maxwell. So a lot of options here for Aaron Finch, unlike in Sri Lanka, where Australia had a lot of injuries and didn't have many options with the ball. Stark bowls to Madhevere. Madhevere drives this to mid-off. David Warner misfields, knocks it on. Adam Zampa does the mopping up. They pick up 2. Score moves on to 3 for 112 for Zimbabwe. But here, 33 off 40. He's done pretty well. He's got to go on with it now. He's got to get a big score. That's the problem with Zimbabwe in this innings. As soon as they get in, get a start, They haven't been able to go on with it, and you can't afford to do that. It just interrupts the momentum of the innings for your team. Certainly when you're batting. Gaming Crab, thank you for your question. Whose poster is that behind you? Mike Hussey, maybe? So let's go, Starkey. Yes, let's go, Mitchell Stark. The poster behind me, obviously, Michael Hussey was one of my childhood heroes, but one of my other childhood heroes was Ricky Ponting. So the poster there behind me is Ricky Ponting. The other poster next to it is obviously the late, great Shane Warne. And he signed that poster, and I had the opportunity to meet Shane Warne as well at his book signing, which I have a photo of. And obviously, wonderful cricketer. So Shane Warne, great to meet him, as so many people did. And I was just honored to meet him on that occasion. So the two posters behind me, Gaming Crab, to answer your question, Ricky Ponting, got that out of a newspaper. And obviously the poster next to me is, the other poster next to it is Shane Warne's book, autobiography, No Spin. And he signed that when I was at his book signing in 2018 when he released his autobiography, and I had a photo with him. So, two legends of Australian cricket, that's for sure. And very happy to have got those posters. So I hope that answers your question, Gaming Crab. So Mitchell Stark, 2 balls left in the over. None for 18. He hasn't got any wickets yet, Mitchell Stark, but hopefully he will join the party very shortly. Stark bowls to Raza. Raza works this to mid-on for a single. Moves on to 3. Once again, thanks everyone for joining us. Thanks for messaging in the chat, talking with me. It's great to discuss cricket with all of you, wherever you may be around the world, listening or watching this Watch It On live stream. As I said, we're going to be doing some more live streams on the channel. So make sure you click the bell and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also follow us on Twitter and Instagram. And the podcast is available on Anchor, Spotify, and on Apple Podcasts as well. So make sure you subscribe to all of those. Last ball of the over, and Madhevere works this behind square on the offside for a single. It's the end of the over. It's 3 for 117 after 27. And Zimbabwe going along steadily. Steady as she goes for Zimbabwe, and that's what they need to do. Nearly approaching 30 overs, so we're nearly towards the back end of this innings. Cameron Green is going to come into the attack. He's bowled 3 overs, none for 17. Gaming Crab, I have a very interesting and fun question. What is the best all-round performance in T20 international cricket history? Interesting. There's so many, isn't there? I don't know. I don't know where to begin with that. Green bowls to Madhevere. Madhevere works this behind square on the leg side for a single. Zimbabwe move on to 3 for 119. 3 for 118. I don't know. There's been some good all-round performances. I don't know. Any ideas, Gaming Crab? Any ideas that you may have? Be interesting to hear your thoughts, but I don't know where to begin, really, because there's been so much T20 cricket played over the years, so many performances from batsmen and bowlers and all-rounders. I don't know where to begin. I can't really think of any names that come to mind. Green bowls to Raza. Raza defends this to Maxwell in the covers, and there's no run. So it'd be interesting to hear your thoughts, Gaming Crab, on that, and anyone else's thoughts as well in the chat. Three for 118, Zimbabwe, 27.2 overs. Green bowls to Raza. It's a short ball, and Raza sways out of that short ball and sees it through to the keeper in Carey for a dot ball. So Sekinder Raza, 3 off 7. Definitely the important batsman for Zimbabwe in this ODI series against Australia. Green bowls to Raza. Raza works this to Maxwell at point, and there is no run. Gaming Crab, you say, I have 2, you make the choice. Number 1, Maxwell's 103 not out of 58 and 3 for 10. 2, Shakib Al Hassan, 5 for 20 and 45 not out. 45 not out, odd runs. Green bowls, and Raza leaves this outside the off stump. There's no run. Well, okay, if I have the choice, I'm probably going to go with Maxwell because I support Australia, so I'm going to go for an Australian. So Glenn Maxwell for me, scoring 100 runs, taking 3 wickets is not bad. And also Shakib Al Hassan's not a bad all-rounder as well for Bangladesh. But if I had to pick one, I'll go with Glenn Maxwell, just because I support Australia and he's one of my favourite players, Glenn Maxwell. Green bowls to Raza. Last ball of the over. Raza gets bat on this, blocks it out, keeps a bit low. That's the end of the over. It's 3 for 118 after 28. Australia looking for that next wicket, next breakthrough if they can. Good to see so many people in Townsville. Good to see the crowd out and about enjoying some cricket. And I think it's good from Cricket Australia to take games to Townsville and Cairns to start this international summer. Obviously, great to see so many people watching the game at the ground. Hopefully we see more over the next couple of games, and hopefully with the series against New Zealand in Cairns, hopefully we see more people in the crowd as well. Gaming Crab, you say, yeah, let's go, Maxi. Yeah, he's one of those players who can turn a game on its head, Glenn Maxwell. And hopefully for Australia, he does well in this ODI series against Zimbabwe, and hopefully he does well for the T20 World Cup as well, which is coming up in October, November. Stark to bowl his 7th over. He bowls to Madhevere. Madhevere drives to mid-off, and there's no run. So Zimbabwe, 3 for 118, 28.1 overs. We're nearly to the end of the innings. They'll probably have to get around about probably 250, I think, minimum to challenge Australia with the bat, because I feel like anything lower than that, Australia are probably going to chase down with ease. So they'll have to get a move on here, Zimbabwe, if they are to get to that score. But there's still plenty of time in the innings to try and get to that score. Stark bowls to Madhevere. Madhevere knocks it down into the ground for a dot ball. And there is no run. Gaming Crab, thanks for your question again. Thoughts on Finch volatile and not so decent form? Yeah, it's a big series for Aaron Finch. I can't stress that enough. It's a big summer for him, especially these 3 ODI series against Zimbabwe, New Zealand, and England when they come out in November. For Aaron Finch, it's definitely a big, big summer for him. And Stark bowls to Madhevere. This is a short ball. Madhevere tries to hook it. And there is no run. Not signalled wide by the umpires. Just 1 for the over, 1 above the shoulder. Yeah, he's got to score some runs. Otherwise, his place in the team is going to be questioned. I think Aaron Finch is sort of like a Owen Morgan type situation here, where he's in the team only for his captaincy, not for his batting. But he is under form a bit. He is under pressure, but hopefully he can get some runs. And hopefully when Australia begin their innings today, he can get off to a bit of a flyer and get some confidence. But it's an important summer for him. It's going to be also an important summer for him in terms of the T20 matches against the West Indies, a couple of those, and 3 against England, leading into that T20 World Cup in October, November. So it's a big summer for Aaron Finch. He's getting towards the end of his career. But hopefully he can score some runs and do well for Australia, and then retire, probably after the 50-over World Cup next year in India. But it's definitely a big summer for him. He's got to, really step it up and do well. And Stark bowls to Raza. Raza leaves this outside the off stump. There's no run. Gaming Crab, you also say, when do you see the Zimbabweans accelerating with the way they are going for at the moment? Yeah, well, they've got to do it pretty soon. We're nearly approaching the back end of the innings. Usually in one-day cricket, you usually accelerate in the last 10 overs and hope to get over 100 runs or so. But they really got to put some pressure on now. They really got to build a partnership, which they are doing with Madhevere and Raza. Stark bowls and Raza drives this through the covers, and Mitchell Marsh does the fielding, and there's no run. That's the end of the over. It's 3 for 119 after 29. They're really got to start accelerating now, I think, because if they keep going at this rate, they're not really hurting Australia on the scoreboard. 3 for 119 in 29 overs is not much. So they really got to start accelerating now and making sure that they put Australia under pressure, hit those boundaries when they can. They've picked up the odd boundary, but not enough. They need 250 plus, I think, if they are going to challenge Australia with the bat. But for Australia at the moment, it's pretty good. They'll be pretty happy. For Zimbabwe, they probably need to start accelerating. The run rate is 4.10 runs per over. So they'll need to pick up that run rate as they progress through the back end of this innings. So they need to start doing it now. Green bowls to Madhevere. Madhevere works this down to the third man boundary. Mitchell Starks here does the mopping up, and they pick up a single. So I hope that's answered your question, Gaming Crab. So really, they need to start going now. Otherwise, at this rate, they're probably going to get a score around about low 200s or something. And I think for Australia to chase that down in 300 balls, I think it's not going to be a difficult chase for them, given the quality of the batting that they have. But we shall see what happens. It's, still a lot of time left for Zimbabwe. Green bowls to Raza, digs this one in short. Raza sways out of the line of the ball and sees it through to the keeper for no run. Gaming Crab, you say, are there any arguments related to cricket which you wanted to give your opinion on as a cricket fan? Well, there's many. On the podcast, we've done that. We've discussed key topics, and I've offered my thoughts on that. I'll get back to you in a minute. This ball, green, bowls to Raza. Raza defends, back down the pitch, and there's no run. Recently, Gaming Crab, if you haven't watched it already, I had a special guest on the podcast, Gabe from Cricket for Americans. He's an American who lives in America, along with his other partner on the channel, in Nick. They talk about cricket worldwide, and there are a couple of Americans. I had him on the podcast before, and I've had him on the podcast again with this live stream. We talked about some topics in there about cricket, test cricket. We talked about one-day cricket, the future of that. We talked about T20 cricket. We talked about a whole range of topics. But there's a lot of topics that I've discussed on the podcast, and I've offered my thoughts and opinions on. What are some of your opinions and arguments on the game? What makes you, feel like that we should do more and improve the game? Be interesting to hear your thoughts on that, Gaming Crab. But I have offered my thoughts on some topics in those live streams that we had. So go check them out on the channel, on the podcast. There's some great episodes. So we've talked about the international schedule. We've talked about many other things as well on the podcast. So, there's so many topics to talk about. It's just which ones do you pick and which ones do you talk about? So, but I've voiced some opinions on the game. And many people are doing that at the moment. Obviously, the future of one-day cricket, also test cricket, T20 cricket, the leagues, and there's been plenty of discussion around. Green bangs this one in short to Raza. He pulls this behind square on the leg side to the fine leg boundary for a single. And that is the end of the over. It's the end of the over. It's 3 for 121 from 30 overs. 20 overs remaining for Zimbabwe. They need to get to 200 if they can. Anything 200 plus, I think they'll take that. Anything 250 plus, I think they'll be happy with. But 3 for 121. Need a partnership. That's what they need here. And they've done that with Madhevere and Raza. Adam Zampa back into the attack. 2 for 30. Sorry, it's not Adam Zampa back into the attack. Sorry, my mistake. It's Mitchell Marsh. He's back into the attack. He bowls to Raza, who leaves this outside the off stump, and there's no run. Gaming Crab, you say, well, it's my first time on the channel. Well, thank you, Gaming Crab. I hope you subscribed. We have so many other content, I should say, for you to enjoy, like many of the interviews that I've done with special guests, like Daryl Harper, former ICC elite international umpire. I've had Mary Walden, international women's player for Ireland, wicketkeeper. We've had so many guests on the podcast, so go and check that out. But I sure hope to join many times in the future. Also, there were many topics like Curly's resignation as captain, Faf du Plessis not playing international cricket. Yeah. Obviously, they've been big talking points, of course. Curly stepping down from the captaincy. Marsh bowls to Raza, and Raza works this onto the leg side, and there's no run. And also Faf du Plessis not playing for South Africa anymore. Yeah, it's so many talking points in the game of cricket. So many people have opinions and voice those opinions on those certain issues and topics within the game. But thank you, Gaming Crab. Thank you for dropping by, and I hope you subscribe to the channel, and I hope everyone else does as well, because we have some great stuff coming out and some great stuff that we've already had created on the channel thus far. And thank you for joining me today for this watch along of the first ODI between Australia and Zimbabwe. We're only doing the first innings. We're not going to be doing the second innings. We'll be back on Wednesday to stream the second ODI between Australia and Zimbabwe. That will be the second innings on Wednesday. But also join us a bit later on this evening. We'll be back again this evening for another live stream. This time for the BBL draft, which is the first time the BBL is doing a draft this season. So that's following the Australia and Zimbabwe first ODI. As soon as that finishes, the draft will take place. So I'll be live streaming that on the channel as well. I'll be having some guests who will be joining me to discuss all the team's selections in the draft, to discuss the draft as a whole in general, and to discuss the upcoming BBL season. So if you're interested in the BBL and all that, come and join us, and we're sure to have some great fun discussing the BBL draft. Marsh bowls to Madhevere. Madhevere drives, plays and misses, and it's a top ball. It's the end of the over. It's 3 for 122 after 31. And I believe the players are going to have a drinks break. So it's drinks. So the drinks break has been taken, and Zimbabwe are going along steadily in this first ODI between Australia and Zimbabwe. They've gone along steadily, looking to just build a partnership if they can, look to get to a total that they feel like they can defend. But at the moment, Australia will be happier of the two teams at this stage. Gaming Crab, you have subscribed. Well done. Thank you. Appreciate that. Also sure to watch the draft. Why don't we make an ODI 11 of great ODI players and pick one player alternatively? Would be fun. Yeah, it would be. Whenever you pick all-time 11s, is often a hard thing to do because different eras and different players. It's often a hard thing to do, but have fun with it. Yeah, I don't know where to start. There's been some great one-day players in all eras, really. But it'd be interesting to do that. And many people have done that when they pick all-time 11s. They've definitely done that. But I appreciate the subscription there, Gaming Crab. Thank you for subscribing to the podcasts. And hopefully we'll see you a bit later on this evening for the BBL draft. That's going to be exciting. Yeah, but what's your all-time 11, Gaming Crab, if you had to select an all-time 11? It'd be interesting to hear what you have to say on that. For me, I don't know where to start. There's a long list of players to choose from, all different eras and generations, but it'd be interesting to do that. Anyway, drinks break here at Townsville, this second ODI, and a wonderful touch there. Andrew Symonds' children running onto the field, giving the players the drinks. Obviously, this match is a tribute match to Andrew Symonds. So his children are out there giving the drinks to the Australian players. It's a wonderful touch. Obviously, Andrew Symonds was from Townsville. Obviously, just tragic, the news about Andrew Symonds early this year. But his kids are out there. That's great to see, giving the drinks to the Australian players. That's a wonderful touch by the Australian team to honour a legend of Australian cricket in Andrew Symonds. We'll update the score here quickly. 3 for 122 from 31 overs. Zimbabwe looking to try and press on and get a target here if they can to set it for Australia. Gaming Crab, you say you give it a start. We will make it together. I'll try and think some as the innings progresses. Dr. Jihan, thanks for joining us today. Is Gabe joining you for the draft? Dr. Jihan, after the live stream that I had with Gabe a few days ago, he did mention that he was going to join me if he can. It's going to be early hours of the morning for him. I think it will be Saturday for him, Saturday morning into Sunday. I did ask him. He said, yeah, I'll try and come on and see what I can do. So I hope that's answered your question, Jihan. But thanks for asking that question. And thanks for dropping by. So, yeah, we will see him, hopefully. And we'll have some other guests as well who'll be joining for that BBL draft as well a bit later on this evening. The timings for that are on our YouTube channel. So thanks for your question, Jihan. Obviously, Jihan, if you're still there, your thoughts on the Australian performance thus far. Be interesting to hear your perspective. But thanks for your question, Jihan. Yeah, Gabe should be joining if he can. If he can't, that's okay. But I did ask him when we had that live stream the other day. But he said, yeah, I'll try and come on and see the draft for a bit, he said. So hopefully he can. And Green has got the wicket of Raza. And after the drinks break, how many times have we seen that a wicket falls and Sykinda Raza, the in-form batsman for Zimbabwe, is gone. He's gone for 5. Cameron Green gets his first wicket. And a good start there for Cameron Green. 1 for 20. And that's the big wicket of Sykinda Raza. He's on his way. He tried to pull that high into the air, down to the fine leg boundary. Adam Zampa takes a very good catch. And that is the end of Sykinda Raza. He's on his way. He's gone. Zimbabwe 4 for 122. And they need a partnership here. And they're going to struggle to get to a score that is going to be competitive against Australia, I'm afraid, at this stage. But you never say never. It's not the end of the innings yet. It's only 31 overs being bowled. Gaming Crab says, Lord bless Green. Yes, Cameron Green gets the breakthrough. Yeah, Sykinda Raza didn't quite time that shot at all. Well, he hit it high into the air, down to the fine leg boundary. Adam Zampa takes a very good catch. So that's the thing with Zimbabwe, is that they keep losing wickets, and that's just interrupted the momentum slightly. which is not good. So the new batsman is the captain in Chaveka. He's at the non-strikers end. The batsman crossed. Green bowls. This one short and wide outside off stump. But here trying to work that onto the offside. There's no run. Dr. Jihan, I just woke up. It's 4 a.m. where I am. I'm on holiday in Prague at the moment, flying back to England in 2 hours. Looks a good performance by Australia so far, looking at the scoreboard. Well, I hope you're enjoying your holiday, Dr. Jihan. It's great to get away and relax every now and again. Yeah, it's been a good start by Australia. Hopefully they can go on and get a few more wickets and do a very good job. But 4 for 123 at the moment as Madhevere gets a single. Yeah, looks pretty good for Australia at the moment. Zimbabwe just keep losing wickets. It's going to be a struggle for them to get to 250. They've got to be competitive. But it was good early on from Zimbabwe. Good watchful partnership early on. Unfortunately, those wickets have cost them. And Australia taking wickets when needed. It's pretty good. So I hope you enjoyed your holiday, Dr. Jihan. And I hope you're having a good time. But thanks for dropping by and thanks for your comment. Appreciate it. As we're nearly to the end of this 30-second over. Zimbabwe 4 for 124. Last ball, the 32nd over. Cameron Green 1 for 22. Got a wicket, couple of dots, and a couple of singles in this over for Cameron Green. So Green runs up to Madhevere. Bowls, and Madhevere works this to the offside. Glenn Maxwell does the fielding. There's no run. It's the end of the over. It's 4 for 124 after 32 overs. Try and update the score here for everyone. Just have a look at Cameron Green and the over that he bowled to Raza. Just having a look at the setup and how he set him up. And he banged that one in halfway down the pitch. And Raza went for the shot. And unfortunately picked out Adam Zampa there at fine leg on the fine leg boundary. So 4 for 124. Zimbabwe after 32 overs. Gaming Crab says, well, I hope Stark gets a wicket. Yeah, well, he's not bowling at the moment. Hopefully he does get a breakthrough and can get a wicket if he can. So Mitchell Marsh to continue. He bowls to the captain in Chaveka, and it's a dot ball. Chaveka, the stand-in skipper for Zimbabwe. Aged 34, 1,111 runs in his career in one-day cricket. So he's a seasoned veteran. He's been around for a while. Marsh bowls to Chaveka. Chaveka works this behind square on the leg side for a single. Moves on to 2. Zimbabwe 4 for 125. Take the score. Gaming Crab, do you think Faulkner will make a return in international cricket? I don't think he will. He's sort of been the forgotten player, James Faulkner, in recent years. He hasn't been really talked about all that often in Australia. Sort of dropped off, really. He played that test match at the Oval in 2013. That was his only test, and he picked up 4 wickets, I think. Obviously we remember those one-day performances against India when he scored that century in that 7-game series in 2013. I remember that. Marsh bowls to Madhevere. Madhevere hits Marsh back down the ground. Won't go to the boundary. They'll pick up 2. Yeah, so I don't think he'll make a return. Obviously, he's had some good performances. Faulkner, obviously, that game in India when he scored that 100, but also the innings that he did at the Gabba, obviously with Clint Mackay in that last wicket partnership against England was quite special. Yeah, but he's just sort of been forgotten and hasn't really been talked about, really. So I don't think he'll come back. I think he's in his late 30s, so I think his international career's gone past him. But yeah, it's sad in a way. He didn't get too many opportunities. Yes, Dr. Jihan, and he was the man of the match in the final. We all forget that. And yeah, he's just fallen off, and he's just not being talked about anymore. But he was man of the match in that final. He bowled well in that final, and he did well for Australia in that sort of period, 2015, even before that. Unfortunately, he's just dropped off. Injuries has hurt him as well. His knees. Yeah, it's sad in a way. Unfortunately, that's the way it goes in cricket. Yeah, they have a bit of luck. You need a bit of luck in this game, but he hasn't had that with injuries and that. So yeah. But yeah, hasn't really been talked about. So I hope that answers your question, Gaming Crab. So I think no, he won't come back to international cricket. He's just probably too old at this stage, and injuries, and obviously Australia looking forward to the future, obviously with younger players. It is sad in a way. He was a very good player when he played Faulkner. Unfortunately, injuries and selection and all that has gone against him. So Cameron Green back for his 7th over. And he starts with a dot ball to Madhevere. Having a look at the Zimbabwean batting card. Batsmen have made starts and then have gotten out. That's been the story of the innings thus far for Zimbabwe. It's been stop-start. They've built partnerships, but they haven't gone on with them. So we're getting towards the back end of this innings, 33.1 overs, 4 for 128. They need to really start building a partnership and put the foot down here, Zimbabwe, if they can. Green balls to Madhevere. Madhevere tries to play this on the outside, the off stump, tries to hit it. Luckily, there was no bat involved. Straight through to the keeper for no run. Gaming Crab says, going from one left armour to another. Mitchell Johnson, thoughts on his great career? Yeah, Mitchell Johnson, he had a mixed career. As we all know, when he burst onto the scene, he had some promise and talent, and then he had a few tough years with injury, especially against England with the Barmy Army, of course, singing songs, and he was spraying it all around. I remember that 2010-11 Ashes series. He was just all over the place, spraying the ball down the leg side, not really getting wickets. But, when he came back to the Australian side through limited overs cricket, one-dayers and T20s, he was a very changed, different bowler when he came back, especially heading to that wonderful Ashes series where he took 37 wickets at an average of nothing, basically. Was just a memorable Ashes series. That spell he bowled in Adelaide, that 7 for 40, is probably one of the best spells of fast bowling I've seen from anyone. He absolutely ripped through England in that Ashes series, but in that test in Adelaide, he just ran through it. And probably the best wicket from that spell was probably Stuart Broad, that wicket. Obviously, it's nice to see that wicket over again on highlights. Stuart Broad was looking at the side screen. Something shiny like a bolt was distracting him. And before you know it, Mitchell Johnson clean bowled him. Next ball. So that's a wonderful sight to see. He was a very good all-round, very good bowler when he came back at that time, Mitchell Johnson. 300 test wickets, pretty good career, I think, to do that for Australian test cricket. So, one of the great bowlers, Mitchell Johnson, certainly 300 test wickets. That Ashes series in 2013-14 was memorable. And it was great to see him do well after so many setbacks and so many, problems over the years in his career. That's a good shot there from Chaveka. Cuts this through point for 4 on the last ball of Cameron Green's last over. It was a good over up until that last ball. And Zimbabwe a much-needed boundary. Gaming Crab says if Stark gets 2 wickets, he goes past the legendary Dale Steyn, who has 196 wickets himself. Yes, he does. He does. Closing in on 200 ODI wickets. Mitchell Stark, which will be a proud achievement for him. Obviously, he's got 200 Test wickets in Test cricket for Australia. Updating the score here. 4 for 133 for Zimbabwe, 34 overs. Nearly towards the end of this innings. So it's Adam Zampa, 2 for 30 from his 5 overs. He's bowled well again. Sorely missed in Sri Lanka. But it's good to see him back into the side. Obviously, he wasn't injured or anything in Sri Lanka. He had family reasons to attend to. Zampa bowls to Madhevere. Madhevere pushes this to the offside and looks to try and get a quick single, but Steve Smith prevents that. And there's a dot ball. Raj Rowett. Hello. Hello, Raj. Hope you're well. Thanks for joining us for this watch-along of Australia and Zimbabwe, the first ODI, definitely the first innings. So we'll be here until the end of the first innings. So great to see you, Raj. Hope you're enjoying it. Gaming Crab, Stark will be the fastest to 200 wickets in ODIs. Yes, he will be. Can't remember how many innings he's bowled thus far in one-day cricket. Maybe you can tell me, Gaming Crab. I can't remember off the top of my head, but he's definitely got them in quick time, that's for sure. So Madhevere's got hit on the helmet. So the umpires have said, well, we've got to get you checked out here with concussion, obviously, which is a serious problem facing all sports, concussion. Raj, you just woke up. It's too early. Yes, it will be early over there. Yeah, well, it's an early start to these games. They're not day-nighters. They're day games. What's the score? Well, Raj, the score, if it does flash up on the screen where I'm watching the game, obviously they're just showing a replay. It's 4 for 133, Raj, from 34.2 overs for Zimbabwe. Australia won the toss and chose to bowl first. So Zimbabwe 4 for 133, Raj. That's the score in 34.2 overs. Madhevere's just been hit on the helmet, so he's been checked for concussion. Trying to play that sweep shot off Adam Zampa, got a bit of a top edge onto the grill. He's on 45 not out off 62 balls, and Chavaka, the captain, is 6 off 6. So I hope that's helped you, Raj, there with the score update. And Adam Zampa's bowled 5.2 overs, 2 for 30, going for 5 runs an over. He's been a bit expensive, Adam Zampa, but he's picked up 2 wickets. And really, Zimbabwe haven't really gotten away from Australia yet. Gaming Crab says the current record is 105 innings for 200 wickets and Stark's 100th game. Oh, yeah, so that's good to hear. Obviously, I think Mitchell Stark will definitely get that record if he can pick up the wickets. He's got a good chance of doing that. Usually we know with Mitchell Stark, he usually cleans up the tail. So I think after this wicket, I think we'll get into the Zimbabwean tail, and I think he will be licking his lips, Mitchell Stark, at the tail. He always bowls well to the tail enders. Raj Rowett says Zimbabwe getting to play both India and Australia in a span of just a week. I'm glad they are getting some game time. Yeah, Raj, it's good. It's good that Zimbabwe are back in Australia. It's been a while since Zimbabwe have toured Australia, not since 2003-4. So it's been a while. So, we should play more against Zimbabwe. But it's good to see them back here in Australia again after a long absence. The series is going to be a challenging one for them to win, but if they can show signs of improvement from game 1 to 2 to 3, I think they'll take massive steps in their development. I think most people will expect Australia to win this series and probably 3-0. But putting that to one side, it's all about developing and growing the game, and that's very important for the world game, but also for Zimbabwe as well. And having the opportunity to tour Australia and play against Australia, in Australia. It's a good opportunity for these players. And Zimbabwe will be back out here for the T20 World Cup later on in the year because they've qualified for the first round to have an opportunity to qualify for the Super 12 stage. But yes, it's good to see them playing against India and also Australia, Zimbabwe. It's good to see that. And it's good to see that Australia are playing them in Australia for the first time in quite a long time. Adam Zampa into his sixth server. He's got one ball left, 2 for 31. Chaveka, the captain, 6 off 7. Raj, you say yes, that's what happened with India too. They improved throughout the series. I like their team. It's a hard-working unit. Yeah, they really challenged India in that last game. They only lost by 13 runs. Raza scored a very good century. Unfortunately, they weren't able to finish off the job, but, hopefully we can see that improvement throughout this series against Australia. It's the end of the over. It's 4 for 134 after 35 overs. Zimbabwe needing to accelerate if they can. So Glenn Maxwell back into the attack. He's bowled 2 overs, none for 9. He's gone for 4.5 runs per over. So he's been a bit expensive from his 2 overs. So he'll be hoping to get a breakthrough if he's in his third over here, Glenn Maxwell. But none for 9 off 2. He'll be bowling to Madhevere, who's 46 off 64. He's batted well, Madhevere. He's really played well. The last 8 overs, 17 runs for 1 wicket at a run rate of 2 and over. So Australia are quite happy with that. They haven't really gotten away. Raj, to answer your question, which bowlers did Australia choose for today's game? Well, there's no Pat Cummins, Raj. So it's Stark, Hazelwood, Cameron Green is there as well, Mitchell Marsh, Adam Zampa. And then you've got Marcus Stoinis and Glenn Maxwell. So that's the bowling combination that Australia have gone in with for today's game. Gaming Crab says Bangladesh versus Afghanistan was a disaster. Also Maxi. Well, he's into the attack, Glenn Maxwell. Hoping to get a breakthrough if he can. Get a wicket. But Australia will be quite pleased with how the game is going at the moment. 4 for 137. 35.2 overs. Zimbabwe need to accelerate if they can. Raj, you say they went with all-rounders. Nice. Yeah, they did. Aaron Finch talked about that in his press conference. He said, we've gone in with that all-rounder balance as well. They're going to be trying some different things throughout this series as well. But obviously, Marnus Labuschagne's been left out of today's team because of that. So Australia trying different things. You want to try different combinations, different structures, different teams. And that's what Aaron Finch talked about in his press conference leading up to this series. And that's what they've done, Australia. So we'll see that throughout the series and also against New Zealand as well. So another single there for Chaveka, moves on to 7. 4 for 138 for Zimbabwe. Last ball, the 36th over. Thanks, everyone who's joined me for this watch-along live stream for Australia and Zimbabwe today. I hope everyone is enjoying the match. Maxwell bowls to Madhevere. Madhevere tries to go for the reverse sweep, gets a top edge there, and that will bring up his 50. A half century to end the over for Madhevere. It's the end of the over. It's 4 for 139 after 36. Half century for Madhevere. He's batted well. And he's batted well for his team here. He needs to keep going if he can. But good innings here from Madhevere. 50 not out of 67 balls. It's his 450 in 23 matches in his ODI career. First against Australia. So that's good for him today. Raj says it's a big headache for India today to choose the team. Excited for it, yes. The Asia Cup, that's a big game. India and Pakistan. Always a big game when those two play against each other. Obviously, the Asia Cup happening at the moment. Gaming Crab says, I don't see it as a good tournament. A good argument, I should say, as Stoinis hasn't bowled for Australia in ages now, so I think there was a definite place for a batsman. Yeah, but that's what the combination they've gone with, and that's their decision. So, maybe have Stoinis as just a specialist batsman, and you got those other options in Cameron Green and Maxwell and Mitchell Marsh, so you don't really need to bowl Marcus Stoinis. He hasn't really bowled in this innings because he doesn't need to. And then you got Stark and Hazelwood, obviously. And when Pat Cummins comes back into the side, obviously you don't really need to bowl Marcus Stoinis, only if you want to get some overs out of him and make up some overs. So a boundary there for Mahir, moves on to 54, 4 for 143 for Zimbabwe. Picking up the boundaries whenever they can. Zampa bowls to Mahir. Mahir works this to long on for another single. So Zimbabwe, they close it in on 150. Quite a long distance away from 200. I think anything 250 and beyond would be good for them, but they're going to probably struggle if they keep losing wickets, and that's the thing for them, Zimbabwe. They've got to have wickets in hand. They've got to build a partnership, and that's what the captain and Madhevere are doing at the moment. Yes, thank you, Raj. Get some sleep. Obviously, Raj, before you go, Raj, make sure you come back for the BBL draft live stream. We'll be live streaming the BBL draft a bit later on in the evening. Obviously, after this first ODI between Australia and Zimbabwe, the draft will happen. So we'll be live streaming that, Raj. So if you can drop in for that, you're more than welcome to do that and get some sleep. So last ball, the 37th over. 4 for 135 for Zimbabwe. Zampa bowls to Madhevere. Mahir defends this on the front foot and there's no run. End of the over, it's 4 for 135 after 37. Yeah, Raj, it is. It is happening today after the first ODI between Australia and Zimbabwe. So if you can drop in for that, we'll be live stream. We'll have some guests as well joining us for that BBL draft live stream discussion later on this evening. So if you can join us for that, Raj, you're more than welcome to. Yeah, but it is happening today, right after the first ODI between Australia and Zimbabwe. So Maxwell bowls to Chaveka, I think it was. Yeah, bowls to Chaveka, and it's a dot ball. Hit Chaveka on the body there. Just having a look at the replay of that. Chaveka trying to play the sweep. Just hitting him on the chest. Maxwell bowls to Madhevere. And Madhevere picks up a single behind square on the leg side. Picks up single, moves on to 56. Gaming Crab says, it's just my thought that Stoinis is a better player than Mitchell Marsh, so it's just a little weird for me. Yeah, Maxwell bowls to Chaveka in the air and just short of Cameron Green at mid-off. It nearly carried to him. It probably did carry. Let's have a look at the replay. Try to go up and over here down the ground, and Cameron Green just didn't carry to him, just on the bounce at mid-off there. Maxwell bowls. This one's a bit short to Madhevere. Works this to deep backwards square leg where Adam Zampa's fielding for another single. Yeah, but that's the decision that they've made, obviously, to bring in Stoinis and Marsh and obviously have those all-rounders and have those options. So, yeah, that's what they've gone with. So, yeah, be interesting to see what they do in game number 2, Australia, in terms of their lineup. But Aaron Finch has said we're going to be making some changes. And Zimbabwe, another single there. They bring up the 150, Zimbabwe. 150 up for Zimbabwe. in 37.5 overs. Need another 50 runs to get to 200. Maxwell bowls, and Madhevere works this through square leg for a single. That's the end of the over. It's 4 for 151 after 38. Not far away from the end of the innings. Yep. So Adam Zampa back into the attack. He's bowling to bowling to Madhevere. Glenn Maxwell just bowled the last over. None for 19 from his 4. Glenn Maxwell. Adam Zampa be looking to get another wicket. It's already got 2 today. Once again, nice crowd in Townsville. Obviously, good to see a lot of people out. Obviously, it is winter in Australia. It's August. It's not summer yet. Quite an early start to the Australian summer. But good to see people out and about and enjoying the cricket. And hopefully everyone's enjoying the cricket here with us on this live stream watch along today. Adam Zampa bowls to Madhevere. Madhevere works this around the corner behind square on the leg side down the fine leg for a single. Moves on to 59. It's been a good innings from him, off 59 off 75 balls. And he's really leading the innings now for Zimbabwe here. Very important for him to stay until the end if he can. Adam Zampa, 2 for 38 from 7.1 overs. He runs up, he bowls to Chaveka. Chaveka sweeps down to deep square leg where Cameron Green does the fielding. They'll come back for a second. 2 runs there to the total. Gaming Crab, your thoughts on Ashenaga not being selected in the series? Well, he's in the squad. He's just not been selected for this game. But I think he'll get an opportunity in this series, I think, because Aaron Finch did hint that we are going to be changing the team around, trying different combinations and different players. So I think he'll get a chance in this series. Obviously, Ashenaga coming back from injury after that side strain that he picked up in the T20s against Sri Lanka. So he's back in the side. Hopefully he will get his opportunity as the series progresses against Zimbabwe, but also against New Zealand as well, which does follow this ODI series a few days after the series finishes. But, Ashenaga, he can offer a bit with the team, obviously with the ball, but also with the bat as well. Zampa bowls to Madhevere. Madhevere hits this down into the turf. There is no run. So Zampa to Madhevere. Bowls, and Madhevere just works this around the corner down to fine leg for a single. Will they come back for the second? They do. Good running. Madhevere moves on to 61 now. Off 77 balls. 38.5 overs have been bowled. So good partnership here between Madhevere and Chaveka, looking to get Zimbabwe to a total that they feel like we can defend if we can. Zampa bowls. Last ball of the over to Madhevere. Madhevere pushes this to the offside through the covers. Steve Smith does the fielding. It's the end of the over. It's 4 for 160 after 39 overs. 11 overs remaining. I'll update the score here. Gaming Crab says, well, many of the Australian batters and all-rounders aren't in best form, so it's a very important series for them. Yeah, it is. I think it's an important series for everyone. Certainly for Australia. They haven't won an ODI series of late, Australia. The last time they've won an ODI series was back in 2020 against India, when India were here in Australia during that summer. And that's the last ODI series that Australia played in Australia. So this series against Zimbabwe, the series against New Zealand, the series against England when they come out in November will be very important for Australia in terms of preparation for that 50-over World Cup next year, and certainly for all the players involved as well. Hazelwood bowls to Madhevere. Madhevere Tries to flash this one outside the off stump. Doesn't get any bat on it. Goes through to the keeper for no run. So Zimbabwe, 11 overs remaining. And we're about to enter the last power play, where Australia can have 5 fielders outside the 30-yard circle in the last 10 overs. Hazelwood bowls to Madhevere. Madhevere works this onto the leg side, and there's no run. Partnership 38 of 48 balls. So for the 5th wicket partnership, it's been a pretty good partnership between Madhevere and Chaveka, 38 of 48. So Hazelwood bowls to Madhevere. Madhevere faces Hazelwood. Hazelwood bowls, and Madhevere works this onto the leg side, picks up a quick single. Has to dive, nearly short of his ground, but he makes it. And he gets the single in the end. So a risky single in the end, but no damage done. Could have been a lot worse. Gaming Crab says, well, there was the 3-match ODI series against the West Indies, but Australia ended up winning it. Yeah, they did. I forgot about that. Yeah, in the Caribbean as well. They did win that series, but they lost the T20 series as well, Australia. So yeah, they did win that series. So that's probably the last. Well, yeah, they did win that series. In the end, Australia in the Caribbean. Another single for Zimbabwe. Score moves on to 4 for 162. 2 balls left. Partnership is 40 of 50. Just have a look at that quick single there. In the previous ball, it was touch and go. It was a direct hit, but he did well to make his ground there, Mahir. He's on 63 off 81. He's batted well. He's been the major batsman for Zimbabwe. He's been the anchor point, so to speak. Hazelwood bowls. This is short, outside off. Mahir hits this up and over point. Marcus Stoinis does the fielding on the boundary for a single. So the last ball remaining of the over. Marcus Stoinis just doing the fielding there on the rope. Try to go up and over that shot there that he played Mahir. Hazelwood bowls to Chaveka. And Chaveka hits this to the mid-wicket boundary for 4. And that's a good shot to end the over from Chaveka. So the skipper hits a boundary to end the over. It's the end of the over. It's 4 for 167 from 40 overs. And a good shot. It was good over there from Josh Hazelwood up until that last boundary. Up until that last ball where that boundary was hit. As a bowler, you don't like boundaries being hit off the last ball of the over. It just ruins a good over. And for the captain, Chaveka, did well to hit that to the boundary for 4. Nearly went all the way, but just bounced inside the boundary rope for 4 runs. So the end of the over, it's 4 for 167 from 40. Partnership 45 for the 5th wicket of 52 balls. And Zimbabwe creeping their way to 200. 10 overs remaining. Adam Zampa to bowl his 9th over. He'll bowl to Madhevere. He's on 64. He bowls Madhevere, sweeps this out to deep square leg for a single. So Zimbabwe still rotating the strike, making sure that they're not being bogged down at one end. Making sure that Adam Zampa doesn't settle into some sort of rhythm. Put him off his line and length if they can. Use their feet towards him. Partnership 46 off 54 balls. Zampa bowls to Chaveka. Chaveka works this down the ground on the leg side for a single. Mitchell Stark does the fielding. So Zimbabwe slowly creeping up towards 200. Good crowd in Townsville. Good to see so many people out watching cricket in August. Quite an early start, I should say, to the Australian summer. Gaming Crab says, well, this team has come a long way from Hussey, Hayden, then Bailey and Clark, and now Finch, Marsh, and others. But for sure, hope they have got a long way to go and win the Cricket World Cup next year. Yeah, they do. Obviously, Australia will be looking to improve and get better if they can. It's all about learning as well. It's also about trying your best, seeing what you can do. But this team, hopefully they can challenge for the 50-over World Cup next year in India in 2023. But definitely Australia's had many great one-day teams in their history. Obviously, those teams that won those World Cups, the likes of Ponting, Hayden, etc., McGrath, Lee, Gilchrist, the War brothers. It was definitely a formidable lineup, that's for sure. Adam Zampa, 2 for 49 from his 8.5 overs. He bowls his last ball to Chaveka. Chaveka hits his deep backward point to Mitchell Marsh for a single. It's the end of the over. It's 4 for 171 after 41. So 4 for 171 from 41 overs. Zimbabwe creeping along to 200. At the moment, you feel like this total is probably not going to be enough for Australia to be challenged or to be put under some pressure, but Zimbabwe doing their best to try and get to that total of 200 if they can. Adam Zampa, 2 for 50. He's taken 2 wickets, and wicket for Green and a wicket for Mitchell Marsh. So it's going to be Josh Hazlewood to continue. He's going to bowl his 9th over to Chaveka. Partnership 49 for the 5th wicket. Chaveka faces up to Hazlewood. Hazlewood bowls, and Chaveka try to work this over the top of Alex Carey. Try to go for a ramp shot. Didn't quite connect with it, and there is no run. Gaming Crab says it's really exciting and amusing to look at Australia's formidable and rich history of cricket. Yeah, it is. It's a long history going back to the very beginning. A lot of Test cricket, a lot of history as well. It's quite interesting to look back at the history of Australian cricket. The direct hit, Aran, I hope you're well. Thanks for watching. Is there a link? There isn't a link, Aran, but seeing that you've been on the podcast before, if you want to jump on, Aran, you're more than welcome to come and join me just to discuss a bit about the match and keep some company for me, obviously. I've been doing it alone for some time. But if you want to come on, Aran, you're more than welcome to. I'll send you the link and you can come on and we'll have a chat if you want to. If you're listening. Yeah, no worries, Aran. I'll send you the link in a minute. Just give me one moment. I'll send you the link on your email, and it will be great to have you jump on. Just doing that now, Aran. So check your emails. And that's hit away from Chaveka for 4. That's a boundary, much needed boundary for Zimbabwe. Chaveka moves on to 27. Short ball there from Hazlewood. And Chaveka was able to hit that to the boundary for 4. Aran, check your emails. I've already sent you the link, mate. Check the your emails and yeah. And Zimbabwe, 4 for 178, 41.5 overs, creeping their way to 200. If they can get there. So here we go. Hazelwood, last ball of his over. Bowls to Madhevere. Madhevere plays and misses at this one. It's a dot ball to finish the over. And it's the end of the over. 8 overs to go. It's 4 for 178 after 42 overs. 8 overs for Zimbabwe to go. Can they get to 200? They got to get to a score that is probably going to challenge Australia. At the moment, I don't see the score challenging Australia, but it's been a good partnership. 56. It's been very good. So they've done very well to build partnerships. But the thing for Zimbabwe is they've lost wickets, and that's really set them back, trying to go through the gears in terms of their innings and that. So, but they've hit boundaries every now and again. So it's been a good partnership. 4 for 178 after 42 overs. We're in the third power play. So where you can have 5 men outside the 30-yard circle. I don't think that will affect Australia too much. Zimbabwe haven't really gotten away on the scoreboard. Adam Zampa bowls his last over. He's done pretty well today. Aran, I sent it to your email. I didn't send it to you on Instagram. So check your emails there. I didn't send it to you on Instagram. So check your email and the link will be there. So I sent it to you by email. So Zampa bowls. This one short from Zampa. Madhevere pulls him away to the fine leg boundary for 4. A poor delivery there from Adam Zampa. And he moves on to 70-1 now, Madhevere. He's played really well. Good to see him playing well here. That was a short delivery from Adam Zampa. You expect that from a leg spinner every now and again to drag one down. He did that. That was short. Madhevere was able to hit that to the boundary for 4. Good shot. Zimbabwe 4 for 183. Zampa to bowl. And Madhevere plays the reverse sweep. But he gets a single in the end. He moves on to 72. And I'm joined by Aran from the Direct Hit, my very good friend Aran. How you going?
Good. How are you? I'm good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, good.
That's good. Yeah, thanks for joining. Hope you're well.
Yeah. Can't sleep. Very much excited for tomorrow morning. Yeah.
Yes, India and Pakistan, of course, Asia Cup.
Yeah.
That's coming up very shortly.
Coming to this game, well, Wesley Madhevere, he's obviously been one of the top players in Zimbabwean cricket since he did well in the T20s. So he's playing well, and well, Zimbabwe. It's really surprising for me that he's gone. He's gone. Such a poor dismissal, and that's the jinx. That's my curse.
Commentator's curse there. The commentator's curse.
Oh, poor Madhevere. Oh no. Well,
he batted so well, and unfortunately, yep, that one just hit straight back to Adam Zampa, and
he was playing for the turn there because he gave himself a bit of a room, and he was trying to maneuver it for a single, but unfortunately, just popped it back to Zampa.
Well, he batted well, 139 minutes out there in the crease.
Yeah.
His innings comes to a close, 72. So good to see him play well and really, try and get Zimbabwe to a competitive total here. But
Townsville, are we playing in Australia? I didn't really.
Yes, they're playing in Townsville, so it's a new venue for this series this summer. So Townsville is in Queensland. It's in North Queensland. It's in the north. So, that's where they're playing, and they'll be playing the ODI series against New Zealand in Cairns, which is also in North Queensland as well. So, 2 different venues for this to open the summer this summer in Australia. But it's quite an early start to the summer. It's in August.
Another dangerous player, Ryan Burl, comes to the crease. So he's a danger man.
Yes, 32 matches. So he's had some experience.
489 runs. Yeah, that's good.
Mm. So if you just joined us, I'm joined by Aran, who's been on the podcast before many times. I've been on his channel many times. Go check him out on YouTube. He does some good stuff there, covering Indian cricket and all cricket around the world.
As much as I can. Oh, peach. That's a peach.
Yes, playing a miss there from Chaveka. And Hazelwood, his last server. Hasn't taken a wicket today, Hazelwood, but well, he's done his job, really.
He's done and typical Australian pitch, the extra bounce. So, yeah.
Yes. So this total.
But did you see what happened today or yesterday, whatever? Oh my God, that was some start to the Asia Cup, man. I didn't really expect that. I expected it to happen, but Sri Lanka doing it to Afghanistan, not really the other way around. But credit to them.
Yes, it was a frenetic start there from Sri Lanka. Quite poor batting performance, you have to say, but a good start.
Now they're on elimination, so they need to beat Bangladesh, and Bangladesh need to lose to Afghanistan for them to stay alive. So, well, they have jeopardized their chances, and they could well be knocked out in the group stage. So,
Yep. So Josh Hazelwood to bowl to the new batsman and Beale. 486.
Can they reach 220, 230, which will pose Australia something? I mean, I don't think so. That's a challenge for them, but to really make sense out of it, that they'll have to make those runs. 220, 230, they need still bat decently and not lose too many wickets. So
Yep. Well, it's going to be interesting to see what sort of a target they set Australia. Anything 200 plus is competitive.
Yeah.
But I don't think it will be a challenge for Australia. I think the quality of Australia's batsmen.
Yeah, technically they should really roll over the target. You never know. No.
You never know in cricket. Anything can happen. But that one leapt up.
Oh, this is
Hazelwood.
This is the same kind of delivery that today got Keegan Peterson, and Ben Stokes has produced it twice in the series. The ball kicks up from a good length and smokes a glove or takes a one he bowled to Markram and the other he bowled to Keegan Peterson. So
Yes, in that test match recently, England and South Africa, that one just leapt off a good leg from Hazelwood.
This series is so funny, Jack. The first test ends in 3 days, the second one ends in 3 days.
Yes.
You're playing 3-day cricket.
Pretty much. Probably the last test could be washed out. Apparently, I think there's some rain forecast or something like that. Let's hope that's not
Smudge is back. So Smudge is back playing after a while. So nice to see Smudge around.
Yes, he is. Steve Smith back into the side. Hoping for a big series against Zimbabwe, but also against New Zealand, which is to follow this series. And then also against England for those ODI series this summer. So Hazelwood, last ball of his overs, last ball of his 10th over.
And
this one's defended from Beale. That's the end of the over. It's 586 after 44.
36 more balls to go.
So 6 overs remaining. Can they get to 200?
6 overs back. I always look at if batsmen are set, I always tend to look at multiply it by 10, the number of overs. So 6 overs 60 if the batsmen are set. If they're not set, then I just what I do is subtract about 20 runs, 20 to 15 runs. So 45. That's my calculation for right now. Since Chakabava is set and Burl is new, I'm calculating around 6 into, let's say, 7 runs and over. That's not tough. even if you are a new batsman, a boundary here or there. So around 40 runs from here. That's my calculation, which says 225 to 230. That's max they
Yep.
can get to.
So Green bowls to Treveka, and that's hit him on the helmet, I think. So he's going to get checked out here for concussion.
Yeah.
So Cameron Green, yeah, he looks okay. The Zimbabwean skipper, the stand-in skipper for this series.
Yeah.
Let's have a look. Yeah, that one just hitting him on the visor and the grill there.
The grill.
It's a glancing blow, so he'll be checked out by the doctor. The protocols there, but Cameron Green showing a bit of
Jack, for tomorrow, what's the timing for the draft?
So the draft, Iran, is after this first ODI. So it's around about 6:30 in the evening here in Australia. That's when the draft will take place, straight after the first ODI.
Oh, after this, like today. Oh, yeah. Oh, it's Sunday there. Oh, I forgot. Yeah. So, like, what's the procedure of the draft? Which does the primary list start first? The big players first up.
I haven't got it in front of me, but yes, the platinum players who've been named will go first in the first round, and then you have gold and silver in the second and third and fourth.
Yeah,
round.
yeah, that's the PSL format. So So you said I'll say time in Australia. I'll just check. If I put time in Australia, or do I need to put like time in Adelaide or something to check?
If you have to,
is it 12:59 on your clock right now? What's the time on your clock?
It's 12:30 where I'm from at the moment.
So what time does draft begin according to your time where you are?
Where I am, it's 6:30.
6:30.
So that's different in other states in Australia, obviously, because of time differences and that. Javeka hits this straight up in the air, and he's caught by Mitchell Stark.
Yeah, Stark is taken.
And Cameron Green picks up another wicket, and that is the end of the skipper's innings. He's gone.
He's signed by Perth Scorchers, isn't it?
Cameron Green, yes,
yes.
Recently just got a contract with the Scorchers. Yep. So Cameron Green picks up a wicket. That's the end of Chaveka. That's the end of him.
That's gonna be 3 in the morning for me, if I'm calculating it correctly.
Yeah, it would be early hours of the morning for you.
Yeah.
The time difference is not great, but that's when it's starting. It's starting after this match, so at 6:30 my time, but it's different in other parts of Australia, obviously, because of the time difference. But
I'm just looking at the playing 11 for Australia. What have they put out? So who's the number 4 batsman then? I'm a bit confused here. So I got the top 3, but either it can be
well, they listed Finch, Warner, Smith, Carey.
Yeah,
got the team here.
That's what I can see. I mean, yeah, right now on my screen I can see the team.
Finch, Warner, Smith, Carey, Stoinis, Mitchell Marsh, Maxwell, Green, Stark, Zampa, and Hazelwood. So that's what they've gone in with.
I can tell you what, if they bring this team to India, they'll struggle. If they bring this same team, even if you can replace one of the all-rounders with Pat Cummins, right? The reason I'm saying is you have Glenn Maxwell, right? The spinning option. Plus you have Adam Zampa. You don't have Ashton Agar at the moment. I don't know if he'll be back. He'll be back, obviously. So
he's in the squad. He's in the squad. He's there. He's in the squad.
Are these right now in Australian cricket, all over domestic, whatever? Are these 3 primary spinners which we are, expecting to see in the one-day format in the future, or is there some new name popping up who can?
Not really. It's mainly Zampa. You got Agar. That's about it, really, I think. And then Australia have got Maxwell, who can bowl a few overs of spin. That's why he's in the side. The all-rounders. If Marnus plays, he can bowl some leg spinners.
But I don't see a place for Marnus Labuschagne in this.
No,
that's the thing.
No, he's been left out today. from the team that played in Sri Lanka in the last game. So it'll be interesting to see what they do, Australia. But they are going to try different things in this series. Aaron
Yeah,
Finch has alluded to that.
yeah, that I can tell. But the top edge should be gone, and he's gone. I
Yeah,
think.
gone. And that's the end
Yeah,
of Buell, top edge, and Green's got another one. So it's all falling apart for Zimbabwe here now. And the wickets are falling. Have a look here. Yeah, top edge. Try to hit that on to the leg side and went to the offside and straight to
that's what
Hazelwood at
Australia
third
does
man.
to you. You know, if this is not that short of a ball, and it's a bit fuller. The shot in terms of where the ball pitched is correct. But had it been India, he would have been able to get it to mid wicket since the bounce wouldn't have been that much. The bounce was there, and he got the top edge. So that's the conditions. That's the adjustment you need to make.
Yep, that's right. So wickets are falling for Zimbabwe.
Well, they've kind of crumbled. So
They've kind of faltered a bit here. They've
but
sort of
this is
crumbled.
way better. Like I mean, in the third Indian game, they got
Well, you must have been a bit worried about that last game. It was only
n- practically these bilateral series are nothing to me. Worried or not worried, I'm more of these. I see them more of as a practice games rather than the result because nothing is at stake, Jack. What will Australia gain from winning this match? They're already going to play the World Cup. You know, if we see in that, yeah,
they'll pick up some points, obviously, because this is a part of the
yeah,
Cricket World Cup
I know
Super
they'll
League, and
gain
same with New
points, but
Zealand.
are they in a position where they really need points for the World Cup? That's the
Not
question.
really, because that South Africa series they pulled out, so they've got 30
Yeah.
points without breaking a sweat, basically. Because South Africa were meant to come out this summer. So really, Australia will qualify easily for that World Cup. It's just if the West Indies will qualify, they're a bit under pressure at the moment
Mm.
in terms of qualifying for that World Cup. That was the end of the over at 7 for 190 after 45.
Stark comes back, so round the wicket.
Start.
And oh, nice ball. So this is typical Mitchell Stark, and you know what Arshdeep Singh has learned from Mitchell Stark is this style of bowling. Just go behind the umpire and pop out at the last moment, so the batsman is blinded for a moment, which I really like. And I really hope. I mean, tomorrow is a big day for that young man. First major ICC tournament. He's never been in any. Plus against Pakistan. I know him personally, so I really hope he does well. I'm sure he'll get a playing 11. That's for sure. Tomorrow against Pakistan. So yeah.
Stark bowls to Longwee, and Longwee gets a
Hey! No, no, not a four. Good fielding.
outside edge
Off. Big off.
down to the boundary there. Josh Hazelwood does the fielding. I
Big
think it's
off.
fine. They're not going to check that, I don't think. I
Hey,
think he's
who's
safe for runs
the?
there.
I forgot. Is Andrew McDonald still in place for the Aussies? The
Yes,
coach.
he is the coach. Yep. He's still the coach, Andrew McDonald. Yep. Josh Hazelwood does well there. Gaming Crab says Mitchell Swepson. Yes, I forgot about him. Yeah, Mitchell Swepson. He's not playing in this team today. He's in the squad, I think.
Mm.
He's not playing. He's another bowler as well that Australia could consider.
Oh, good Yorker and equally well played by Jong Wei.
So Zimbabwe, they've just lost wickets at the wrong time. It's been the story of their innings. They've got starts. They haven't converted them.
Where do you
The
think?
only one who did was
Where do you think Liam Livingston will go?
in the draft. Yeah. He could be retained by the Scorchers. You get one retention.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So yeah, he'll be retained, no question.
If someone else picks him, then the Scorchers can use their retention pick and get him back. It's sort of like with the Adelaide Strikers with Rashid Khan.
Yeah, so
they're
it's
gonna
RTM.
retain him,
It's like
obviously.
RTM system, right? You show something and then you retain him.
Yeah, sort of.
Yeah. So we can clearly tell that the Scorchers are gonna retain Liam Livingston. Strikers are gonna retain Rashid Khan. Then you come to Melbourne Stars, they're not gonna let Andre Russell go. There's a video also. I don't know if you saw or not on their page where they're discussing the auction, and then the first name that they pop up is Andre Russell. So they were discussing about him
Yeah.
along with Maxwell. So that's three franchises. And who else? Hobart Hurricanes. I think they're gonna go for Madhevere. They're gonna retain their captain back. So yeah, that's what I think. Well, I don't know much. So have the squads released all of their players? Is that the thing for the draft?
What was that? Sorry.
Have the squads released all of their players from the previous season, or have they kept some players for the draft?
They've released their squads, but obviously they've still got the places left that they need to fill for the draft.
Oh, okay.
Sorry about that, everyone. We just had to.
Can you hear me? Hello.
Yeah, that's right. Sorry about that. Just had to deal with some spamming in the chat. Obviously, you have to deal with those messages. So sorry about that, everyone. It's the end of the over. It's 7 for 195. 4 overs remaining. It's Cameron Green to bowl his 9th. Down the ground from Evans. Gets a single.
Dwayne Bravo. That's a name. That's a name.
Yes, and Kyron Pollard's in the draft as well. Yeah, obviously Andrew Symonds, his children are out there giving the Australian players drinks and doing the 12th man duties. Obviously, this match is very important. Obviously, a tribute match for Andrew Symonds.
Yeah.
One of the legends of Australian cricket. What in the air, gone, caught by Glenn Maxwell. Longweed tried to go for the big shot, and he is out of there. And he's gone for 3. Zimbabwe just capitulating here, Iran.
A typical. I mean, no disrespect to them, but well, there's no competition, man. To be honest.
Yeah, but more importantly, it's about learning and trying to get better in this series for Zimbabwe. It's on paper, Australia are probably going to win this series 3-0 and probably going to do it quite comfortably. But
yeah,
at least if we see some improvement from Zimbabwe, I think it would be good.
Which we saw in the last series. The first game was
which we saw against India. They did improve in that series, and hopefully they'll prove here against Australia. But just losing wickets at the wrong time, it's going to be Richard Narera. Excuse my pronunciation of the names. Hopefully we get the names right as the series progresses. The Zimbabwean players' names, but he's the new batsman at the crease. Cameron Green's got an opportunity to get a fifer in one-day cricket. Hasn't got one yet. He bowls to Evans, and Evans hits him down to the long-off boundary. Warner's in pursuit. He cuts it off. They'll pick up a couple. Well, thank you, everyone, for watching and joining us for this watch-along today. I'm joined by Aran from the Direct Hit, my very good friend. I've been on his channel many times before. Go and check him out. He does some good stuff with Indian cricket content and cricket as well. And Evans hits Green to the boundary. He's gone. He's caught a carbon copy of the last dismissal. And that is the end of Evans. Green's got 5. Well bowled, Cameron Green. First 5-wicket haul in one-day cricket. And the lads are getting around him. And he's bowled well today.
Yeah.
Well, Zimbabwe, probably not going to quite get to that 200 mark. They've only got 1 wicket in hand. It hasn't been a great end to the innings here in these last few overs. It was sort of just a matter of a time, wasn't it, Iran, that this was going to happen, this sort of collapse. They started watchfully, but then all of a sudden they've had that collapse, and it hasn't really done them well, hasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I think
What's your prediction, Jack, for tomorrow?
are you talking about India or Pakistan or? Oh yeah. Well, Pakistan won against India last game in the T20 World Cup last year. So
Yeah.
well, this time around it's a bit different. So it's an Asia Cup. It's not really a major tournament like an ICC event, but I don't know. I can't really choose a winner. I think it's going to be a good game, but maybe if Pakistan can get it right, maybe Pakistan. But we shall see what happens. It should be a good game, as always.
Yeah.
So the last
about your thoughts about Virat Kohli coming after a break, and then how do you see him going throughout the tournament? Did you hear the interview first of all, which he just
I did
gave?
see the article. I did see the article that was that he did, and we've got to remember that he's a human being. At the end of the day, green bowls to Naraya. Excuse my pronunciation of the names. We'll try and get them right as the series progresses. As
I think it's Nagarava.
Narara. Anyway, we'll get the pronunciations right, everyone, as the series progresses. It's a dot ball. Yeah, is he going to open the batting? I think he is in this Asia Cup. I think Rohit Sharma said that. So hopefully he can come back to his best. It's been over 1,000 days since he scored that century.
I mean,
cricket. So
for me, Virat Kohli's best doesn't have to be a century. It has to be good runs at a decent strike rate, which wins us the game. That's it. That's pretty much it. People are expecting a century from him. That's his return to form because his standard is here, which he set. So that's the only reason people are. But the only marked difference I saw in the recent period was that when he was in form and not in form, the major difference was aggression. When he was in form, just take that Perth test, which happened in 2019-18, where there was ball was seaming. He was on to them. He was on to you. You can see it in his eyes. You can see it in his body language when he's batting that he's switched on and he's ready. But nowadays he just when he was playing recently, he didn't look that aggressive. That's what I noticed in his batting. Major change. You can tell by Virat. I only remember that 2016 Mohali innings against South Africa. That was something insane, which he did that day. So now he's back. So I really hope that he brings that aggression to the field.
Yeah,
tomorrow.
Absolutely. The 200 is up for Zimbabwe. And I'm going to update the score. Sorry about that, everyone. Zimbabwe have reached the 200. So the double century is up. I feel like it's not quite enough.
Nothing is enough
against Australia, but you never know. You never know.
If Australia don't win this, man, I don't know what to say. They should make these runs.
Oh, Mitchell Starc. He's bowling those Yorkers now. He always likes it when he bowls to the tail.
You don't show stumps to Mitchell Starc.
No.
He just went away from the stump.
We got some questions. We'll try and get to your questions. It's all been happening here. But thank you, everyone, for joining me for this live stream watch-along of the first inning.
Location I says whoever chases tomorrow will win. Whichever team chases.
Well, it's in the UAE, isn't it? We saw that in the T20 World Cup last year. If you chased, you won. That probably is going to be the case.
But I think India's bowling attack, fast bowling I'm talking about, bowled him. Innings over 200 exactly done.
Yep. He's bowled him. That's the end of the innings. And Zimbabwe are out for exactly 200. And Australia will need 201 to win from their 50 overs. I think they're going to do
Gaming Crab says his last century was 2019, while his last good innings was in, what is that?
When he toured England.
Which good innings is he talking about? Maybe in the ODIs, I think, or T20s.
Or was it the that Test match at Edgbaston when he scored that 100 in
Yeah.
2018? So the news here from Townsville is that the innings is over. Zimbabwe have been bowled out for 200. And it's been a one-sided affair, Iran. You have to say the last few overs has been a
Yeah,
collapse.
they look promising, but losing 6 for 20 is, well, I mean, not a good sign.
Not a good side indeed, but Zimbabwe, let's hope they can do well with the ball. So Zimbabwe all out for 200.
How many are viewing, Jack, right now?
We've got 50 people watching. That's fantastic. Thanks for
50?
tuning in.
Great.
50
Please
people,
send in
half
your
century of
questions.
watchers. Thank you for
Please
tuning in.
send in your questions. We can discuss anything.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. We'll probably live stream a little bit of the a little bit of the second innings when Australia start very shortly. Obviously, we're just having a look at the tribute to Andrew Symonds, which is happening at the moment. Obviously, remembering Andrew Symonds, this was planned to commemorate who was a remarkable cricketer. Around, you have to say, Andrew Symonds, and sadly
He
missed by all.
he was someone who could just change the game on its head. All the big names, people had their eyes on the Pontings, the Gilchrist, the Haydens, but no one, even Damien Martin or Michael Clark, no
Yeah,
one really talked about Andrew Simons. He was a silent killer for me. He just came in and then out of nowhere, Simons. Plus, he was a damn good fielder. He was a brilliant fielder, and he chipped in with the ball. I I basically started to watch him around 2007, you can say. And in the 2009 IPL, I followed him perfectly. He played for Mumbai Indians. He played for Deccan Chargers, right? Those were the two franchises he played for. So, oh,
yeah,
that's so nice, man. His two dogs are also out here. Yeah,
yeah.
that's
That's
nice.
what they're going to do. They're going to put his a Cubra hat on the wicket and his baggy green as well
Yeah,
to pay tribute to one of the legends of Australian cricket, in Andrew Symonds, of course, and obviously he was from Townsville, so it's fitting that today's game has been, or this series has been played in Townsville to remember a great cricketer, of course, and his son there, ready to put his dad's baggy green on the stumps, and it's such a moving moment, and the whole crowd just watching on and remembering who was a very good cricketer, Andrew Symonds, one of the best. He'll be sadly missed by all.
yeah. Mhm.
There we go. Touching tribute, Iran, you have to say, to a remarkable cricketer.
Yeah, yeah. And he will be missed, as you said, by all. Australian cricket has had some painful moments in this
Yes,
year.
it hasn't been a great year. Shane Warne, obviously,
Yeah.
and
Rod Marsh.
what happened there with that, and now Andrew Symonds, and And Rod Marsh as well. We can't forget Rod Marsh. That's very disappointing year, in fact, for Australian cricket. But a wonderful tribute.
I think that this World Cup will be something of a turnaround. People can forget all the sad memories and then focus on the World Cup, which will give them good memories. Hopefully.
Absolutely. Yeah. So there we go. The tribute there to Andrew Symonds. So a fitting tribute to a remarkable cricketer. So Zimbabwe all out for 200 and they're 50 overs as both teams pay their respects and clap and pay their respects to Andrew Symonds' family as they walk off the ground to remember a legend of Australian cricket and certainly in world cricket as well. So there we go. Alrighty, Zimbabwe all out for 200. So Australia will need 201 for victory. And Aran, let's talk about the run chase. How should Australia go about it? Do you think Finch and Warner be a bit watchful and then be aggressive and put the foot down after a while, after a few overs, after a few sighters?
Just have an open
net. Do you think they should just bat and just chase the runs down?
Just have an open net. That's it. Bat like you're batting in an open net session. That's it. Not much fuss. Hit the ball. Well, you can't tell Sehwag to play like Dravid, or you can't tell Dravid to play like Sehwag. It's just that. You can't tell David Warner, hey, you're gonna go and defend. Similarly for Aaron Finch, you can't tell those guys. They play how they play. If some player hasn't got a hit out in the middle for a while, send him up the order. That's what they should do.
Yep. So, thank you everyone to joining us today, I should say. It's been great having all of you join us and watch this first ODI between Australia and Zimbabwe.
Did you see that tweet by Cristiano Ronaldo?
Sorry, was it?
The tweet from Cristiano Ronaldo?
No, I didn't.
It says, Sunday the king plays. So I think he's going to be watching the game. So, yeah.
So Australia all pretty happy with their work, I should say. 5 wickets for Cameron Green. He was pretty good, 5 for 33. Let's have a recap of the innings and talk about that quickly. Quick summary. Zimbabwe got off to it was a good start with the opening partnership of 42. Then Kaya got out for 17. And then Maramundi got out for 45. Myonga was the third wicket to go. He got out for 7.
Loss did hurt us at that point. But I think
and the 4th wicket was Raza. He got out for 5. Madhevere was the 5th wicket to go. He got out for 72. Chaveka, the captain, was the 6th wicket to go. He got out for 31. Bure was the 7th wicket to go. He got out for 2. Longwee was the next wicket to go. He was the 8th wicket to depart. He went for 3. Then it was Evans for the 9th wicket. He went for 5. And then Nietzsche was the last wicket to fall. He went for 2, bowled by Mitchell Stark. So Zimbabwe all out for 200. Australia will need 201 to win. So there we go there. So we have an innings break, so we can talk some questions in the chat here. Thank you, everyone, to watching us today. I really
Are there
appreciate
any questions in the chat?
We have some questions here, Aran. I can hear a bit of audio on your side, so if you can.
Yeah,
mute that, that would be
that's done. So yeah.
okay. That wasn't anything I should be worried about in terms of copyright or anything. No.
No.
Okay, good. Just checking. Just.
That was just
checking.
Rohit Sharma speaking in his press conference. So
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. All good. Obviously, we're on YouTube, so we've got to be careful with these things.
yeah.
But at least it wasn't the game audio. That's good. So
Yeah.
we're okay. We got some questions here from some people. Thank you so much. We'll try and answer them, and then we'll watch a little bit of the start of the first innings, and then we'll be calling it there.
Is Gabe joining for the draft or?
So we'll try and answer some of your questions here. Gaming Crab says the 5th T20 National versus England.
Oh yeah.
2021 when Rohit and Virat hammered Mark Wood.
Yeah.
I think he was referring to that. Which was an Ahmedabad, wasn't it? That series last year.
Yeah.
So he was talking about that. Gaming Crab also says, why don't both of you make a current ODI 11 together, picking one player each alternatively? So
like ODI 11 currently. So do you agree with Rohit Sharma as number one opener?
Well, you have to go with Rohit Sharma as opener. Who else?
I'm thinking Rohit Sharma and David Warner as the openers.
Yep.
Number 3 can't go past Mr. Kohli. So yeah. But he's saying current, so we need to look into form.
So he's talking about current, not all time. I think if it was all time, I think it would have been a lot easier. But based on current form at the moment, it's not too many names I could think of who are in form at the moment. Who else?
Still, I'll put Virat Kohli in respect of.
Okay, so Virat in there. Who else? Who's going to be the keeper?
Keeper. Oh, good question. I'll go with Mohammad Rizwan. I'm liking his keeping. So yeah.
Oh, Babar Azam, of course. Babar Azam should be in the.
Yeah, Babar is 4, but you asked for a keeper, so I said Mohammad Rizwan.
But I mean, as another batsman, you should have.
Yeah, Babar at 4
Babar
for sure.
Azam,
Babar at 4
because he's been in good touch.
Yeah, Babar at 4.
The bowling. Beauty.
Shaheen
Afridi's been pretty good.
Shaheen Afridi, yes. I'll go with that. Jasprit Bumrah.
Bumrah.
Yeah. And I'll go with Ben Stokes. Oh, sorry, he retired.
No, he retired. He stopped playing now. You retired.
Oh, he retired. I'll go with Kagiso Rabada as the 3rd fast bowler.
Yep.
3 fast bowlers. We're gonna pick one all-rounder. I'll go with Sir Ravindra Jadeja as the spinning all-rounder.
Okay.
Who will be my finisher wicketkeeper? That's the question I'm looking at to answer.
It is difficult picking, 11s, current or all time. Because there's so many good players that have done so many good things in one-day cricket. So
I'll go with Josh Butler because he has done the finishing role before. He generally does the finishing role in the one-day setup. So Josh Butler, that's my choice. Yeah. So we've got Rohit, Warner, Kohli, Babar, Butler, Jadeja, 6. Then we've got Shaheen Shah, Afridi, Kagiso Rabada, Jasprit Bumrah, 7, 8, 9. 2 more. One spinner, I reckon we need. Yeah, one spinner. So. What do we think?
Well, I think I hope that answers your question there, Gaming Crab. We tried our best, but as I said, it's very hard, very difficult to pick 11.
Okay, 2 players left. I'll go with Yuzvendra Chahal as another spinner, and I'll go for Hardik Pandya. Who's the seeming all-rounder these days? When Stokes is gone, Hardik Pandya is there.
Hmm.
Uh, I'm trying to travel across countries and see for fast bowling all-rounders, but I'm not able to find a lot who are in good form. Okay, let's pick Cameron Green itself. He's been good, so we'll pick him. We'll reward him with the place in our 11 for his fifer today. So that's
Yeah. Uh, some other questions here from Gaming Crab. I'll just answer. Well, I just realised that the fact that the Australian women's team, has won 13 of 20 women's trophies. Yes, they won a lot of late. So they're going to keep winning some tournaments, that's for sure. Women's T20 World Cups next year in India,
Gaming
South
Grab.
Africa.
Gaming Grab. I can announce the 11 for you again. It's Rohit Sharma, David Warner, Virat Kohli, Babar Azam. Uh, who else did we have in there? We had Cameron Green, Joss Butler. Then we had Ravindra Jadeja. Then we have Yuzvendra Chahal, Shaheen Shah Afridi, Jasprit Bumrah, Kagiso Rabada. That's it, I think. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yep.
Jack, my battery is really down, so I gotta go. So yeah, thanks for having me. So my
No worries,
battery.
Aaron. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, we're gonna end it here as well. I was only going to do the first innings of this match today, but we'll be back now. Gaming Crab has asked about the draft. We are live streaming the draft of the BBL tonight, and that will be happening tonight. I think we lost Aran there. He did say his battery was running low, but to answer your question, Gaming Crab, we are going to be doing the draft tonight. We're going to be covering the whole draft from start to finish. We're going to have some guests on, like Aran, who's joined me today. We're going to have some other people joining us as well for the draft. So that's going to be exciting to do that. Obviously, the first BBL draft in the history of the BBL. So we'll be doing that later on today. The timings for our live stream of the draft are on our YouTube channel. So make sure you subscribe and click that bell so you don't miss out. So thanks everyone for joining us. We've been live for nearly 3 hours now, nearly 4 hours. But thanks everyone for joining me. Thank you so much for your questions in the chat. Great to see everyone engaging and discussing cricket, which we'll like to see. So if you haven't done so already, make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. Click the bell to get the latest episodes of the podcast. Like and share our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter and on Instagram. Most of the podcast is now available on Anchor, Spotify, and on Apple Podcasts. So make sure you catch us there as well. So we'll get through the final questions of the chat before we wrap up this live stream. As I said, we're only going to do the first innings, and that was it. Gaming Crab, you said your 11 was Rohit Sharma, David Warner, Kohli, Babar Azam, Vanderdussen, Butler, Jadeja, Stark, Bolt, Bumrah, and Chahal. That's a pretty good one-day 11 there. So thanks everyone for joining us. It looks like Australia will chase down these runs. Obviously, Zimbabwe bowled out for 200, and Australia will need 201 runs to win and go 1-0 up in this ODI series. So that's all for today. We're going to be live streaming quite a lot this summer on the podcast on our YouTube channel. We're going to be live streaming the rest of the Zimbabwe series, also New Zealand, and also the international cricket that's happening in Australia, obviously with the Test series against the West Indies and South Africa, and also the T20 World Cup as well. So there's a lot of cricket on in Australia, but it's good to see cricket back in Australia, obviously. Good to see people out and about enjoying cricket. That's the main thing. Gaming Crab, you say, sure, hope to join you. Ursa, it was fun joining you. Oh, thank you so much, Gaming Crab. And thank you so much to the people who've subscribed to the channel. I really appreciate everyone subscribing. Just had a look at the numbers before. We're nearly up to 350, so fantastic. I'm over the moon. Thank you so much, everyone, for subscribing. I hope you enjoyed today. As I said, we're going to be live streaming more, so make sure you subscribe and click that bell so you don't miss out. We're going to be live streaming, doing watch-alongs more often this summer, but thank you for joining me today to watch the first innings of the first ODI between Australia and Zimbabwe. Obviously, Zimbabwe started well. It was promising, but then towards the end, they lost wickets, and it was pretty much a collapse at the end there. But Australia doing well. They need 201 runs to win, and you'll think they'll probably do that with ease and probably chase down the runs to finish this match off and go 1-0 up in the series. Also, a reminder that the BBL draft is on tonight after the Australia and Zimbabwe First ODI. We'll be live streaming that. Make sure that you drop by for that. We'll be live streaming. We'll be having some guests on to join me for that, to talk about the draft, talk about all the teams' chances and how they shape up for BBL 12. But once again, everyone, thank you for joining me today. I hope you have a great day. Until next time, keep safe and bye for now.